Live from Tigerville, South Carolina, the Limestone College Saints versus the North Greenville Crusaders. Brought to you by Ingles Markets.
From Yount Stadium in northern Greenville County, the third all-time meeting between the Limestone Saints, a new upstart program here in the upstate of South Carolina, and the homestanding North Greenville Crusaders. Welcome in, everybody. Alongside Tom Van Hoy, I'm Jason Patterson. Our privilege to be with you for the duration of the evening as these two teams do battle. And, Tom, we have a pair of teams in this one tonight riding high. For North Greenville, that's because of a deep run in the D2 playoffs a year ago. For Limestone, it's because of back-to-back overtime wins.
Yeah, as far as Limestone's concerned, they've come from behind in the fourth quarter to win a couple of ball games in that run you mentioned. For North Greenville, third round UNA last year, North Alabama. They like to get back there and got off on the right track with a win over 16th-ranked Albany State last week.
What an environment both of these programs have now created, the fan base and everything surrounding days like today. We were walking through the tailgate area. They've been here since early this morning, tailgating all day, and being down on the field just a few moments ago, you get the vibe that this is a very important game for both teams.
Well, I hate to use the word cool because it's hot today, but it's very cool going through the parking lot today to see that set up, ready to go. Limestone traveled well. Our side of the stadium, you see it here in just a little bit as well with North Greenville. Great atmosphere for college football tonight.
Well, we know Limestone can certainly finish strong. We've seen that the last couple of weeks, and we know North Greenville can control the football. They did so in a big win on the road against a top-ranked Albany State team a week ago.
Yeah, they were able to do what they needed to do, and coming off a tough loss against Lenore Ryan, they'd won here on a field goal against Tusculum in game one, so I thought it was a big game for them to go down and win on the road at Albany State.
If Limestone is going to be successful here today, it all begins with the talent of their sophomore quarterback.
Yeah, Ivan Corbin Jr., 6'1", 200 sophomore. He's out of Warren Robins, Georgia, preseason first team All-South Atlantic Conference. He got baptism under fire last year. He'll be a key factor here tonight.
Limestone also has some pretty good weapons, both at the wide receiving and running back position, with a tandem of Fleming and Patton.
Well, how about Jerqueo Patton, 5'9", freshman Charlotte. You see him there, 90 yards per game, 4.7 per carry. I guess Tusculum, 28 carries, 134 yards, had a couple touchdowns. The 3-yarder came with 33 seconds to go. The 40-yarder in overtime to win it.
He came in with the tying score as well as the winning score, and coming off an impressive performance at home at the reservation a week ago, he'll try and replicate that here. North Greenville's system is well in place. They're not quite as young as Limestone from a program standpoint, and they have found the perfect quarterback to run it in Will Hunter.
Yeah, good look there. 6'1", 200. He's now a redshirt junior coming out of Lexington. How about a year ago, 3,000 plus, 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. 4 of those, though, came against UNA. He has been a catalyst for this team offensively. He's got experience with the deep run last year.
It helps when you can turn and hand the football to a duo like Tracy Scott and Ashton Hurd. The 1-2 punch for North Greenville means they'll both be fresh toward the end of the game.
Well, and you know, you're talking about a couple of guys from South Carolina. Hurd at 5'9", 180, the junior out of Abbeville, coming off 134 against Albany State. 1,000 yards 2 years ago. Scott, the redshirt sophomore from Carolina High in Greenville, 109 yards per game, 119 and 2 touchdowns last week. 1,000 yards rushing last week.
Cam Rice had the big play a year ago. Limestone was going in when the game was still young. The game was still tight. He was able to come away with a turnover. North Greenville never looked back. They've won each of the 2 meetings prior in this series. If Limestone is going to break through, a couple of keys we're keeping an eye on. One, can the Saints execute early? We know they can play well late, but on the road, it seems even more critical to stay in it in the beginning stages.
He struggled offensively, averaging only 20 points per game, 283 total. They've had to come from behind. I think here tonight it's imperative they do execute early and get some points on the board and just eliminate mistakes. 6 turnovers last game out, still won, though.
Yeah, still won the football game after 6 turnovers. That's remarkable. And the penalties were as much a conversation, as much a concern for the Limestone coaching staff as those turnovers you talked about. For North Greenville, the 2 things they did last week, they possessed the football, something not many people had done against a highly ranked Albany State team, and then they protected the ball very well, something that's critical in this one again tonight.
You need to possess it because this is going against a Limestone defense, 7th in Division II, that has allowed only 252 yards per game, so get some first downs, keep the ball, and then sustain the drives. After you do protect the ball, don't give Limestone some short field advantages there. So take care of that football, which is always the key in any game you're going to play.
As we mentioned, North Greenville had its way in the 2 prior meetings, including a 37-0 shutout in Gaffney last year. But the Saints program, a year older, and both teams peaking coming into this one. We'll have more pregame coverage on the other side of the break. Well, Crusader fans calling on the home team to bust through and enter Yount Stadium. They're just about to do so. All that red smoke pouring through. Limestone is here. Their captain standing on the far side and carrying that American flag. Here come the Crusaders.
So nice to be back home, and you talked about it at the outset. The run made last year in the Division II National Playoffs. Did lose at North Alabama in the third round, but you think back, lost their 52-21 regular season. At that point, 4-4, put it together down the stretch, got that experience. See Limestone coming in, only 4 years as a program, won a couple of games the first 2 years, 5 and 6 a year ago, won a couple of games, and they've done it in impressive fashion, coming from behind in the fourth quarter to win.
And if it goes to overtime, they're in good shape. We had their first ever road win in program history in overtime on the road at Brevard a couple of years ago, and they've won back-to-back overtime contests this season, coming in 3-0 all time when extra time is required. The captain's meeting at midfield here are those tense final moments before kickoff.
Yeah, I tell you, it is a hot day. We'll talk about it. Sun's going to go down, but just ready to play, and that's what you look forward to on a Saturday night in late September, college football.
In just a moment, we'll check in with the third member of our broadcast team, Ansley Brock, after the toss, but we should let you know what she will no doubt document. You alluded to it, Tom. It's warm. Temperatures in the mid-80s. It felt more like it was closer to 95 or 100. Fall weather, they say, though we're not so sure after walking around down there earlier. As you can see, North Greenville, having won the toss, they have deferred, so the Limestone Saints will receive the football. They'll have a chance to put their fingerprints on this D2 battle first. And let's check in now with Ansley Brock, who is roaming the sidelines for you. Ansley, we just mentioned it's a warm one down there. What else do you see on the sidelines?
Yeah, guys, luckily, though, that decided to go back to the fall weather that apparently is supposed to be the second day. But today, it is Parents' Day here at North Greenville University. Stands filled with parents and families ready to cheer on their Crusaders. Luckily, they will probably be getting their money's worth of their ticket today, as they will be seeing a battle of the defenses.
Well, you talk about the two teams that we have here, Tom, and the storied head coaches that we have. We're going to talk about the NFL background of Coach Furry for Limestone. You're looking at a coaching staff for North Greenville that made that run into the depths of the Division II playoffs a year ago. The way these teams have played and the background the coaches bring to the table gives a tremendous amount of confidence to both squads.
Well, you have guys that have been there and done that, and they lead their teams, and I think in the appropriate way, and they want to develop players, and we'll get into this as the broadcast goes on, but an incredible number of players out of South Carolina on both of these ball clubs.
Well, that makes the connections to the high schools and the surrounding area, which we will, as you said, document, all the more impressive and worth talking about. Abney is back at the 5-yard line. He's joined back there by Jaquise Callahan for the Limestone Saints, getting set to return. And all the waiting, all the anticipation coming into this one here in Tigerville today. Now behind us, it's time to settle in for some football, Tom Van
Here
Hoy.
we go. Looking forward to it.
Kicking game, an important element for both of these teams. And we talked to Limestone. They were mentioning their coverage moving forward and the way they want to handle that. North Greenville believes kicking has been a strength of their team. Guy who handles the place kicking duties, Matt Gravely, who is teeing it up and getting ready to get us underway. He's a guy who's hit almost from 60 this year. So strength in so many different areas for these two teams. The question is, who will have the upper hand in the initial stages? We are underway. Ball in the air at 10 minutes after 7 on cue, and with a knee taken in the end zone, Limestone will begin after the touchback. And here's our first look this weekend at Ivan Corbin Jr., the sophomore sensation at quarterback for Limestone.
Warren Robbins, Georgia. We were talking about that. 6'1", 200 sophomore, preseason first-team all-conference. We'll talk about this. They're out of the South Atlantic Conference. First opportunity for them to compete for championships. The preseason number 7 right now. There are 8 teams, but off to that good start. And he has experience, got thrown in there last year as a freshman, so even though he is a sophomore, he does have experience under his belt.
Preseason all-conference selection, first-teamer in the South Atlantic Conference, and he started 10 games in his freshman campaign for Limestone. As we've already talked a couple of times about, the engineering of the late comebacks the last 2 weeks just speaks to the maturity with which this young man plays at the quarterback position. And he was able to shake off those 6 turnovers. He was personally responsible for those 6 turnovers last week. And coaching staff said, we didn't talk a lot about the turnovers. We talked more about decision-making, when to uncork one and throw it away, when to turn and just calm things by handing off to one of the backs. And speaking of those backs, here's the surrounding cast for Limestone.
Yeah, we talked a lot to Deonta Fleming as well. Young man out of Greer, their leading receiver. Vincent Smith caught a big touchdown pass in one of the games earlier this year, and they like the development of their offensive line as they get deep into the season.
Of course, Blackman, a big loss for them. Hurt, you saw him on the screen there. We'll get into that. They're also without a major defensive contributor in Simmons, so Limestone going to have to not only play on the road, but play through some of the attrition that they've experienced due to injuries. For North Greenville, they talked about defensively especially how pleased they are to finally have some of the key pieces back. They returned a number of the players from that defense a week ago, as you see the Ingles starting lineup for North Greenville, or a year ago, I should say, but they're just now getting them healthy again, Tom.
Yeah, and there are a number of players coming back from a year ago. Sam Houston was a major loss at middle linebacker from a graduation standpoint. He's a graduate student now.
This tip and knocked away. North Greenville with coverage coming in there from Cam Rice. You remember Rice a year ago in that game in Gaffney at the reservation, able to come up with the big interception when the Saints were driving early. Really tipped the balance of the game. Both coaches talked about how that moment ended up resulting in a 37-0 victory for North Greenville, but how at that time when he stepped up and made a big play, everything was still in doubt. It's the entire North Greenville defense here with a 3-and-out, and we'll find out what the Crusaders can do on their first touch after the punt from Limestone's Alex Haynes. It's a good one, booming kick. Going to be fair caught inside the 25, and that's where the Crusaders will take over after the fair catch by Harold Hilton, a 5'8", 148-pound wide receiver, given the return responsibilities for Limestone this time around. And Will Hunter, he is more of a pocket passer than what you're going to see from Ivan Corbin Jr. Hunter has some sneaky speed, they'll tell you, and what they love most about Will Hunter, talking about the North Greenville coaching staff, they love his football IQ and his ability to let plays develop in front of him. He was the catalyst, the engineer of that deep playoff run a year ago, back and better than ever. Hunter's first toss is going to give a look down the near side to North Greenville's Mason Sanders. 6'6", 230 for Sanders, Tom. That size the Crusaders will try to exploit throughout the evening.
Yeah, he's out of Bowling Spring. We saw him a couple of high school games over the course of his career as well. And, went one-on-one coverage. Big guy, tried to one-handed. Pretty good defensive coverage there, incomplete.
You already saw Sanders. We talked about the 2 backs that will have a chance, Tracy Scott, at the top of your screen. And North Greenville's first carry will belong to Tracy Scott, the redshirt sophomore, with positive yards and 3rd down coming. How about the entire offensive look for North Greenville, Tom?
Well, they've been very balanced this year. 173 rush, 179 pass, 353 total. And they average about 26.3 per game. So they struggled a little bit in that ball game against Lenore Ryan. Kind of a disappointing 22-10 loss, but scored 34. Kicked the field goal Gravely to beat Tusculum in game 1 and then put 35 on the board against Albany. You see the defense there, and boy, what a remarkable start. 252 total. That's number 7 in Division II, and we'll get you through some of those players at all levels are very good.
Over the middle on 3rd down, an incomplete pass, another effort for Sanders. 10 starters back on offense for North Greenville, a very quarterback-driven offense. That safely can be said about both of these teams. One more note on the Limestone defense. The absence of Joshua Simmons is glaring. A foot injury toward the end of that game a couple of weeks ago. He opted to go ahead and have surgery. There are still some very real NFL prospects, Limestone folks will tell you, for Joshua Simmons. As a result of that, he opted to go ahead and have the surgery, so it was season ending. He will not be back, and he was their leader on defense a year ago. The punt going to be returned across the 30. Pretty good opening for Raw. He's out to the 35, tries to cut back, but will only have a yard or 2 after that and is up to the 37-yard line. How big of a loss is Joshua Simmons' absence? 8 interceptions returned for touchdown a year ago. Helped this team reach that number, and he helped this team reach a number that had them among the top 10 in the country defensively when it came to turnovers overall. So a big loss defensively for Limestone, and yet, despite some of the early issues for North Greenville injury-wise, and that big loss among others for Limestone defensively, both these defenses look good on the first possession, Tom.
Yeah, they did. 3 and out, I think very good for this North Greenville defense. And we talked about execution from Limestone's standpoint. They got a pretty good gain on first down there. It's a North Greenville team that did give up 500 yards against a good Albany State team, but able to come out with the win last week.
Jacoye Patton gets the carry, the freshman making impact right away. And Tom documented it, scored with 33 seconds remaining in the game last week at home. And that score sent it to overtime, and then after a penalty following celebration when Limestone's defense worked Tusculum off the field on a 3 and out and a missed field goal, the celebration pushed them back to the 40-yard line. The Saints said that's okay. They handed to Patton, and on the first play from scrimmage in overtime, he went the distance, all 40 yards, and they erupted in celebration with the latest home win.
Yeah, I'm like you. I had to go back and reread that thinking, how do you do that from 40? But there was a celebration penalty after this field goal.
Third down for Limestone. Both offenses come up empty on their initial drive. Now the Saints looking for the 47-yard line. Actually need to get right across it for a first down. 2 wide receivers to the near side. Going to go the other way, and North Greenville covers it up. Short of the first down, fourth coming from near midfield with just under 12 minutes to play. Limestone's second possession. Seems as if it may result in a decision to kick, but now not so much. Saints leaving the offense on the field. Just on their side of the 50. Not a bad roll of the dice on the road. Trying to make a statement, stick in this thing. And Patton makes it work. He has the first down and then some across the 45 of the Crusaders and down to the 42-yard line. Well, do you think that the gentleman at the helm of this Limestone program, Coach Mike Furry, has any hesitation when it comes to these young backs?
Well, I'll tell you what, no. They went to the line of scrimmage. They knew what they were going to do. You know, and oftentimes that can result in, if you pop it through there, you can go distance on that. Did get the first down. And, you know, you like the aggressive nature. It's a young program trying to instill confidence in his team. And you know what? To get a first down here on the road, good call.
Well, this time leading the way, doing some blocking is Patton. And the carry going to be there for Limestone's Shenard Bain. Bain, a running back, one of those coming back from the work load that sees so many. You are missing guys like Daytwan Commodore, who had 212 yards a year ago. Of course, everybody remembers what Mays was able to do a year ago for Limestone. Then we talk about backs like Patton. Here you see Bain. One thing we could say about both of these teams, Tom, is you're going to hear a number of different names on both sides. A lot of weapons up and down these rosters. And it's back to Patton, who finds a hole. And he may make the fourth down gamble pay off. Gets inside the 5. There is a flag back around the 24-yard line. And Patton takes it with that breakout speed all the way inside the North Greenville 5. Let's see if it sticks.
They're walking back. Maybe a block on the edge there. And tell you what we saw on the ability there, you get a good look at it there on the camera work, up inside the jump cut, and then able to accelerate on the sideline, and maybe the block on the edge provided that opportunity.
Holding, offense, number 81, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
And you can hear the holding call that will bring Limestone back around midfield, but you said it, Tom. Takes nothing away from what fans already witnessed, and that is if number 23 finds open real estate, he's tough to bring down.
I'll tell you, 28 carries, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns last week in the overtime win over Tusculum.
He carries the load among all those different backs we discussed, those who have come through this program in its young stages. He and the redshirt freshman, as we said, for 5 touches last week alongside the young backs. Right now carrying the load for Limestone. Second down. Saints need 3. And this time, North Greenville all over it. As the Crusaders behind Brandon Berger, able to swallow up the ball carrier. Berger, last week, along with Harper, the 2 biggest contributors in that upset victory for the Crusaders.
He is the leading tackler out on the edge there with 32, a couple tackle for loss. And Tell you, anytime bring down that young man in the open field, that's a good one.
Depth, the main concern on defense for North Greenville. They have a very strong linebacking core. You just saw what Berger can bring to the table. Without defensive lineman Chauncey Haney, who was lost in the Lenore Ryan game, some gaps to fill for North Greenville as well, as flags come in prior to the third down play. And it's not any coaches making excuses. It's just par for the course when you get to this portion of the season. Here's the call.
Before the snap, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Where these two teams have been plagued, Tom, is not only have they lost some bodies to injury, they've lost some very important bodies
well,
to
that's
injury.
true. You know, talking about Simmons a minute ago and what preseason All-American in that secondary. But, yeah, and in conversation with Jeff Barrington this week on a conference call, a lot of guys back in certain spots, but trying to get everybody on the same page with some injuries and consistency and playing together, and he thinks they're getting better as the season's gone on.
Mike Furry's offense facing a third down and 9.
And that's not where they want to be.
And now timeout called for.
Timeout, Limestone. First time out of the half.
Saints want to talk it over before an important third down play. How about the fire of Coach Mike Furry as he gathers his team up? We'll be back to Tigerville with more on the other side of the break.
Game night dinner doesn't have to be stressful. Stop by the Ingles Deli. It's dinner and a snap, then off to the game. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Pair of 2-1 teams squaring off in the early part of the 2017 campaign. A day trip for the Limestone Saints, just about an hour-and-a-half ride from Gaffney to Tigerville, South Carolina. And the Saints on their second possession of the game, facing a third down and 9. Ivan Corbin Jr. moving a wide receiver to the left side. Route perfectly run, and a pass executed to Fleming. Who else would you turn to but Deontay Fleming when in need? Now, there is a flag down for Limestone once more back at the 47-yard line, but that was exactly what the coaching staff for the Saints wanted drawn up coming out of the timeout, Tom.
Yeah, down and out, and Fleming out of Greer, preseason second team, all South Atlantic Conference. Await the call here. 20 catches coming in at 12, 73, and 3 touchdowns against Benedict.
Personal foul, chop block, offense, number 39 and number 61. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, third down.
Chop block will back up the Saints right near their own territory as you get another look at Fleming's ability. We'll be calling his name. We do it early. We'll be doing it often throughout the night tonight. But that, the headache scenario for Coach Mike Furry. He talked about turnovers not being as critical as far as tightening things up, despite having 6 of them last week as the penalties. And he pointed back to that overtime penalty, the personal foul, when the helmet was taken off in the overtime period. He mentioned several other scenarios during that game. So the one area that we focused on tightening up penalties, it cost them again here.
And when they occur.
This is a costly one in timing. You're exactly right, Tom. 8.5 left to play, ticking now under that, and Limestone faces 3rd and 24. The line to make is the 32-yard line of the Crusaders. The ball going to be snapped on the 44-yard line of the Saints. Corbin Jr. loads up and fires deep. The intended target was Jamil Hornsby. It's incomplete. Good coverage deep for North Greenville, and the Saints now will kick it away from right around their own 30.
Yeah, a little double coverage there. You get a look at it here. I mean, he launches that ball long, but inside coverage there and able to knock it away. Nice job by North Greenville's Rodney Lynn. But again, that's with Limestone. They offensively averaging about 20, 152 rush, 130 pass, and 283 total. So not a really prolific offensive team at this point. When you get behind the chains, it becomes very difficult.
With Greenville 3 and out their first time as well, and there's a fair catch, which means the Crusaders will start inside their 15-yard line. With 7:48 remaining, just working our way into a groove in this one. First period action from Tigerville, South Carolina on this 23rd day of September 2017. Yount Stadium is hopping, Tom. A good crowd from Limestone, having made the trip from Gaffney on the far side, as you would expect in that football-crazy town. And on the near side, they've been waiting all day as well, and a lot of red and black having turned out for this one.
You and I have been over here a couple of times to broadcast games. You, over the course of your career, beautiful facility they have here in Tigerville.
Will Hunter back to work. On the turn, give to Tracy Scott. And Limestone front able to limit Scott to about a yard. This Limestone defense, we were getting into it, Tom. 8 defensive touchdowns led the nation a year ago at the Division II level. They were in the top 8 when it came to turnovers in general with 32, and they returned 7 starters from that group. It's the reason the last 2 weeks they've limited opponents to right around 200 yards or less.
Yeah, and 105 total on the ground. That's a second in Division II. 147 pass, third in, or 22nd in Division II. Overall, defensively, they're number 7. So, I mean, they're stout. They're tough defensively. So it's going to be interesting to see how this North Greenville offense, but I think can crank it up a little bit, does against this defense.
Without Simmons here tonight, as we talked about, but still very strong defensive approach for Limestone. And here's a little toss out. Going to be caught. North Greenville connection to Robbie Brown, 6 foot, 190-pound wide receiver for the Crusaders, able to reel it in.
Boy, and I tell you, he laid it out there only where Brown could get that ball. That's a long pass, you know, kind of from the hash there diagonally, and then good coverage there, but outside able to reel it in and absorb the contact. So good play.
Brown, a redshirt senior for North Greenville, been in this program for some time. That's the Crusaders move the chains with 6.5 to play. First period action. Or Tracy Scott. This time Scott with an opening, and he's up near midfield at the 48-yard line. Tracy Scott, good size, breakaway speed from right here in the Greenville area. Another of those, you talked about him up and down both rosters, that these coaching staffs have kept close to home from the high school ranks. Tracy Scott shows why North Greenville's glad that happened in his case.
Yeah, he shot that ball up inside. 42 carries, 328 yards, 3 touchdowns. 7.8 yards per carry, coming off 119, a couple touchdowns against Albany State.
First and 10, knocking on the doorstep of Limestone territory. More Scott, and he won't quite make the midfield stripe as the clock dips under 6 minutes left to play. These backs, when they are discussed by the North Greenville coaching staff, the one word that comes to mind, unselfish, the way they share the football. And there's Scott down. The last thing the Crusaders want to see right now, because as I was just getting ready to say, Tom, it's the combo that comes when you have both Scott and Hurd healthy and fresh late in the ball game. So all concern right now with Tracy Scott, who's down at midfield.
Yeah, redshirt sophomore, 1,111 rush last year, 15 touchdowns. As you mentioned, coming out of Carolina High School in Greenville. And you think about his 1,000 yards last year, then you go back 2 years ago, and you had 1,000 yards rushing from the aforementioned Hurd as well. We'll get another look at it here and see what happened at the end.
Scott going up through traffic, and you see his body just gets bent backwards at the 49-yard line. He's still down. And that athletic training staff from North Greenville working with the redshirt sophomore, another young back with a great deal of promise on these two rosters. Clock at 5:48 to play, and the Crusaders just about to work on second down and around 8 from midfield. But more important than the football game right now is the condition of the sophomore, who it looks like is going to be brought up with a little bit of help from that training staff, and a nice round of applause from both sides here in northern Greenville County.
And no pressure on that right leg. Right ankle. So he's coming off.
Tracy Scott with all 4 carries for North Greenville to this point. So perhaps the workload going to get a little greater for Ashton Hurd, at least in the immediate future here at the 5:48 mark.
Well, he's done it before. We talked about 1,096 and 7 touchdowns 2 years ago. 728 and 4 last year. That was an outstanding combination. We talked about the 1,100 by Scott. So he's been there, done that. He'll get an opportunity.
Well, these two backs motivate each other. You know, Hurd likely motivated by seeing Scott helped off and just able to get rid of it, fire it away as Will Hunter. His white jerseys were everywhere. Good push from Limestone up front, although a flag is down, and it's going to be against North Greenville. So not only good push from Limestone, it was despite the holding call, Tom.
Yeah, there were good pressure up front. Had to roll out of there. I mean, Hunter made a nice decision to just throw it away, but prior to that, the flag goes down and going to be pushed back.
Holding, offense, number 64. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
So North Greenville backed up to inside their own 40-yard line now, looking for the Limestone 42. Several downs to work with to get there. Second down, and they're going to call it 18. Uncovered out here for the moment is Robbie Brown, and now Limestone going to cover him up. There's trips to the left side of your screen on the lower side of the field for Will Hunter. Going to look that way. Wide open in the flat. And able to come away with the catch is Bobby Foose, the tight end. The routes run perfectly by those trips receivers near side, and Foose sneaks in there and makes the catch.
Yeah, all three levels there. He came from the inside position. We may get a look at it here, and ran Brown deep. You've got to respect that. He had a 77-yarder against Tusculum, and then brought at mid-level Foose back. And a year ago, 18.8 yards per reception, led this team. Not only as the punter, but the tight end as well.
Creates a third and manageable for North Greenville. Right at 5.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter, and only the second time the Crusaders have touched the football. And they'll give to the big bruising back inside. Able to get across the 40 and pick up a North Greenville first down. That's a movement of the chains for the Crusaders. It's big number 35, Tristan Jackson, 5'8", 220. The vitals on Jackson, who picks up the first down.
Tell you, that's a big first down after the penalty pushed him back. And got a big chunk of it back on the pass completion there, and continues the drive here now at the 40.
Hunter with all kind of time. Makes a connection with Ken Drummond. Drummond tiptoeing on the sidelines. That's close to another first down. Should be one. It is. They move the chains. Crusaders inside the Limestone 30 to the 28.
Boy, you love the catch, down, out, catch it with your hands, and do the tip tap along the sideline there, and had a good drive going here.
Limestone defense looking to tighten up. He's hurt. And the Saints will. First man on the scene, Raymond Hall, an outside linebacker, and he swallows up the ball carrier for a loss on first down.
6'2", 215, redshirt junior, preseason second team All-South Atlantic Conference. Man, came in with 10 tackles. And this is a solid one there. I mean, there's your form, just lines up and brings down an outstanding running back.
Hall, you mentioned 88 tackles, 11 for loss a year ago to add to those numbers, 37-yard fumble return in the game against Catawba, his brightest moment. Speaking of a fumble return, ball is on the ground here, and Limestone seems to have it near the 25. A return across the 30, and the Saints with their first takeaway of the ball game with North Greenville driving. So both defenses rise up, stop a challenge on the second touch for each of these teams. And the Saints will withstand the North Greenville run here thanks to a takeaway.
I'll tell you, you're talking about the numbers last year, and we get another look at it here as Hurdle shoot it up inside, and there the ball pops out of there, and the scramble for it, and how good last year Limestone was. A second look, good work by our camera crew, knocked out from behind, and
almost pops right up into Saxon's hands. And it ends up being instead Sheldon Reed who picks it up and carries it a few yards forward for Limestone. First and 10 Saints from the 31. 3:45 to go, first quarter. Scoreless game between a pair of 2-1 squads. Limestone coming off back-to-back victories in overtime, including a win at home a week ago against Tusculum. A common opponent for these two teams, Tom. They both played Tusculum right down to the wire.
The first game of the year here, Matt Bradley kicks a field goal to beat Tusculum, 34-33, and then the overtime game last week, and having to come from behind to win that one. So, yeah, a couple of South Atlantic Conference opponents there. North Greenville, we'll get into it, is an independent headed to go south, but this is for Limestone, only the fourth year in the program. I think it's a very important thing they have conference affiliation, particularly from a scheduling standpoint.
And they'll never have a better win percentage than they do right now in the South Atlantic Conference. They're batting 1,000. Here's a toss out near side. This is caught by Fleming, and Deontay Fleming has ran out near the marker at the 40-yard line. Of course, we're halfway joking, but what an accomplishment it is for Limestone, Tom, to win their first ever SAC game. That storied conference welcoming them in with open arms. They're taking the spot being vacated by Brevard, a team dropping down to the Division III level, and they came into the conference by storm by winning that overtime thriller against Tusculum last week at home. Welcome to the conference. How about that?
Well, and the way they did it, too, particularly with scoring late and then an overtime.
Enough for a first down for Limestone. Little toss out. Going to be caught by Bain. And Bain is into North Greenville territory at the 46. That's back-to-back first downs for a Saints team moving with some confidence offensively after the takeaway defensively. And let's quickly check in with Ansley. She has an injury report. Ansley?
Yeah, guys, Tracy Scott is over there. It is indeed his right ankle. We don't really know what else it is. Trainers are kind of evaluating him. He does have big smiles on, though, right now. Nonetheless, he is suiting back up. He might get back out there. We'll just have to wait and see.
All right, thanks, Ansley. Talking about the North Greenville running back lost in that last series. First down, inside North Greenville territory. Very minimal, if any, gain this time for Limestone. But they're set up nicely, Tom. And the defense, as it has been so often for the Saints, a catalyst for their offense.
Well,
right now.
and they've done a nice job, too, on this drive of mixing it up. Got to Fleming out on the edge, and then they throw it to the running back, Shenard Bain, who came out of the backfield, and kind of nice, deft, soft touch to make that play prior to that.
Gives some options to Ivan Corbin. So many elements of the zone read, but spreading it out, and this is incomplete. That was perhaps caught for an instant, but it was immediately knocked out as Deontay Fleming could not hang on. The ruling right away, and immediately an incomplete pass. So with just under 90 seconds to play first quarter, a third down and 10 is coming. This is worth another look.
Yeah, good look. Cam Rice comes up and lowers the boom. And young man, the sophomore at 5'10", 175 out of Southside High in Greenville.
Cam Rice, perfect form. Stay low, wrap the receiver, and forced to third and long. This day and time when targeting can happen in a split second and the blink of an eye with bodies going different directions. He was able to tackle with some confidence, do so effectively. Here's Corbin's damage that can so often be done, even on a busted play, and he gets near and has enough for a first down as the Saints will move the chains. Corbin makes something out of nothing, and Tom, there's a first real look at what a dynamic rusher he can be.
Yeah, really wants to throw the football. 64 carries, 86 yards, and a couple touchdowns, but a good decision. The pressure came on the edge. He came back against the flow, cut it up, and got a good game.
Corbin can make plays with his feet. Also throws the deep ball well. He's definition of a dual threat quarterback for Limestone. Going to turn and give up the middle. Crusaders not fooled. Front line for North Greenville. Forcing Patton to make a bit of an adjustment equipment-wise. What can you say about the way this group up front is playing for North Greenville so far? Johnny Birch, the defensive lineman, in there to disrupt that time around.
Yeah, tackle 6'5", 265, the senior. Right next to him, the nose guard Seth Lauder, 6'2", 285 junior, and then Desmond Williams out of Piedmont ran high, the sophomore 255 at the other one.
Under half minute to play, down around 10 seconds. We're going to get to 14, make it 13 before Limestone calls timeout. First period winding on down in a scoreless affair.
Second timeout of the half.
As you heard, second timeout for Limestone burned in this first period. And let's talk Mike Furry for just a moment.
Yeah.
Has a background that extends all the way to the National Football League. He is a Mike Martz disciple. He said this about Coach March. He said, the first year I was around him, I didn't like him. But then I picked up on his philosophy that he was dedicated to excellence, that he was into developing people, and he cared about his players. And he said that is the same type of approach that I've tried to create as we build the foundation at Limestone.
Well, I'll tell you, his background, obviously, in the National Football League, well, if you don't know, 8 years, 4 different teams, a little arena football, a little XFL, and you can see him, it looks like he probably still play today, and just probably one of the really good fits at Limestone with his background and community work and things of that nature.
When we asked him, how did you end up landing at Limestone College? He said, one of the first recruiting trips I went on when I was at Marshall with the Thundering Herd was to Gaffney High School. I recruited a kid by the name of Hyleek Foster, who folks in this area know all too well. He said, after that, I understood what a hotbed this area is for high school football, and when the Limestone job came open, I knew because of all the pieces being in place, the passion of the fan base, the opportunity to recruit there, it was going to be a great job for somebody, and I'm glad it turned out to be me. Going deep and too deep, a little bit too much air underneath it for Limestone this time, so third down is coming. Corbin takes a pretty good lick. But the Saints live to fight another day here after the timeout. He said, I felt like for all those reasons, Tom, Gaffney was the perfect place for my family. We've loved being involved in the community. He said, so many of the things that I believe in were already in place there, and we're just trying to build on it.
And the passion for football, and if folks don't know, they do play at the reservation, where Gaffney High plays.
And love it.
And
have no
do.
intentions of doing anything else in the near future, because that 10,000-seat venue, which the fans in Cherokee County can pack out regularly, is just the perfect type environment for this young and developing football program.
Now think about this. It's only the 4th year. From scratch, that's tough to do.
Already picking up some wins, nearly securing a winning season a year ago. And if Ivan Corbin's legs have anything to do with it, they may very well do that this time around. Ball perhaps on the ground at the 24. North Greenville saying they have it. No signal just yet. Well, this would be turnabout. Crusaders were driving a moment ago, and Limestone securing the takeaway. Again, no signal as yet that it's North Greenville's ball, and it looks like Limestone's going to maintain possession. Not only that, if it's Limestone's football, it should be a fresh set of downs, and it will be. Here's another look at it for you.
Yeah, you get a look at it there. Played well defensively on the edge, and it wasn't there. And then up inside, a quick decision. The ball comes loose, and don't you love it? Just every player on both sides think they have football.
That's a quarter, partner. One in the books. Let's queue up 15 more. We'll be back to Yount Stadium in Tigerville right after the break.
Grab game night dinner at the Ingalls Deli. Rotisserie chicken, a salad, and a hot bar. Everything you need can be found at the Ingalls Deli. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Beautiful night in Greenville County. Look at that crescent moon overlooking Yount Stadium. Fans are feeling it. Limestone Saints driving. Everybody's got a mantra these days. A hashtag you can throw out there for your football program for Limestone. It's locked in. They have been that so far in this game, and locked in for more positive yards. Young scampering back in Shenard Bain. 5'5", 160, and using every bit of it. Moves the chains for the Saints. Inside the red zone, Limestone threatening to score first in this one.
At Dorman High School, outstanding player for David Gutschall there. And so Deontay Fleming, who played a career for Willie Young, and a lot of familiar players from the upstate, a lot of familiar head coaches as well.
First down from the 14. Just underway in second quarter action. In motion and taking the handoff is Fleming. He'll be rushed out at around the 10-yard line. Limestone's mantra, locked in. North Greenville's mantra, rise up. And the Crusader defense being called upon to do that right now, Tom.
They are. This is an impressive drive by Limestone. We talked about through the first 3 games this year, averaging only 20 points per game. And 152 rush, 130 pass. I think they've been effective here in the first quarters. We're early into the second quarter.
2nd and 6, a Limestone team that did not score in this battle against the Crusaders a year ago. Looking to draw first blood. And here's Corbin. Some room as he bounces it outside, gets by the last possible tackler, and meets the end zone as he sneaks inside the pylon. Ivan Corbin Jr. puts Limestone on front 6-0 with a 10-yard scamper. And the Saints, the road faithful that traveled with them from Cherokee County, feeling it in the early stages of the second quarter.
You know, Jason, we're talking about really not much of a running threat to a certain extent. 64 carries for 86 yards. He's been effective in this ballgame so far, carrying the football for Limestone.
Well, they like his ability. Feel like maybe he hadn't hit that ceiling yet of where he can be, but that's a big-time weapon. The feet, a major weapon for Ivan Corbin Jr. Extra point true for Limestone. 7-0 Saints with 13:57 remaining. Limestone turns a fumble recovery into an extended drive capped by Ivan Corbin's touchdown run. Well, one of the keys we talked about coming into this game, execute early for Limestone. They've done it on both sides of the ball. A turnover forced by the Limestone defense leads to a 12-play, 69-yard drive. They ate up right around 5 minutes of game action and capped it off with the Corbin touchdown run.
Saw the motion, and then they going back against the grain. Very effective in that drive. Corbin Jr. goes the final 10 for the touchdown. Hanging onto the football, making some plays, converting first downs, and keeping the ball away from North Greenville. And on the board here, 7-0. You mentioned it a moment ago, 37-0 a year ago. North Greenville able to win a game.
Corbin Jr. held off a couple of guys nipping at his heels in the offseason. DJ Phillips, who transferred in from Marshall, also held off young Mr. Wilson, who was a part of the UAB program, transferred when that program was brought to a close. And it was open competition, according to Coach Mike Furry, coming into the season. That speaks to how much belief they have in the young quarterback. North Greenville with an answer up to the 40-yard line. Solid return. Crusaders will take over near midfield. And now, unusual spot for North Greenville in a game like this, Tom, especially as well as they played at home over the last couple of years, playing from behind in the second period of action.
Yeah, we'll see how they respond. Folks just joined us. Tracy Scott went down with an apparent ankle injury. We'll see if he returns. And it was a big hit at the end, but boy, that was a nice return by Hilton, 5'8", 148. Not real big, but boy, with good speed and acceleration, provides opportunity from the 41, the best field position that North Greenville has had. This is their third possession of the ball game.
Harold Hilton also provides a spark for a North Greenville team following the Limestone touchdown. Here's a carry for Hurd once again. It's going to be a heavier dose of Hurd, not as balanced between the two backs, as Tom mentioned with Tracy Scott absent at the moment. We did see Tracy Scott earlier jogging on the sidelines, so the hope is for the North Greenville faithful that he'll be back in a timely manner. But Hurd carrying the weight in these moments. 13.5 to play. Second down coming for North Greenville near midfield. Hunter all kind of time. This is a little too tall for his intended target. A little miscommunication on the route, perhaps. And third down is coming.
Jason, if you're interested in how important Scotty is, 328 rush coming in, 196 for Hurd, 8 for Jackson, 5 for Hunter, 2 for Baker. So an instrumental part offensively of this North Greenville team.
Puts it in perspective. It's third down. And 6 is on the horizon. Crusaders have to reach Limestone territory. They have to reach the Saints 49 to move the chains. Boy, again, I'll say it, all kind of time, and it allows Hunter to wait and hit Christian Bruce for the first down. Well, there is the picture of the best that Will Hunter brings to the table. He allows plays to develop. No panic in the mind of the redshirt junior, and he's able to move the chains.
When you saw the footwork there, just slides a bit, provides an open lane, and continued to run the pattern, which he did. Christian Bruce able to come up with a play there. That's a pretty important drive. I mean, Limestone's come in. They've done some pretty good things offensively, and they're tough defensively. We gave you the numbers at the beginning.
And here's more of Ashton Hurd. Positive yardage on first down. North Greenville into a second down, and they're going to call it a long 6. There's Jeff Barrington saying it's too early to tell where his team is this year in relation to last year because of a lot of those injuries coming back. He said from one week to the next, you look at the way we've played so far. On the one hand, we upend an outstanding Albany State team and do it on the road. On the other hand, we struggle a little bit to execute in that Lenore Ryan game, so the jury's still out. The jury is not out on Ashton Hurd as he travels 41 yards for a North Greenville touchdown, and pending the extra point, will be dead even once again.
Got a great block on that right side, and once he got into the secondary, that young man out of Abbeville played on a couple of state championship teams, and 1,000 yards rushing 2 years ago, 780 plus last year. And he's able to take the distance. Then one.
Ashton Hurd, in the absence of Tracy Scott, carrying the load. His workload increases a bit on the last 2 drives. He seems to have embraced the moment. Extra point, true for North Greenville. Both teams having scored a touchdown. This one a long run from Ashton Hurd. 7 apiece. Second quarter action from Northern Greenville County. Ashton Hurd giving them something to cheer about here on the home side. Students out in full force. The beautiful thing about a Saturday, no classes. And you've got all day tomorrow, you know, once things are done here, once you finish your responsibilities, whether it be your activities of the normal Sunday or whatever it is that you're into, you have some time to get ready before classes roll back around on Monday. Nothing like a Saturday night, nothing like a little college football. And we welcome you back in to Tigerville, where the homestanding Crusaders, after a 5-play, 59-yard drive, which ate up about 1:56 of game action and was capped on a 41-yard run by Ashton Hurd, have even the score at 7 apiece.
Yeah, what a response after 12 plays, 69 yards in about 5 minutes. That quickly able to get back and get this game tied.
Limestone cashing in on a forced turnover. One of the things this Limestone defense has done best across the last couple of years. They do it very well, and then North Greenville putting together a fairly quick drive, less than 2 minutes required to march 60 yards after a solid return. It's fairly average return for Limestone up to the 20-yard line. That's where the Saints will take over. What are your impressions so far of Ivan Corbin Jr., Tom, after watching him through a quarter plus now and seeing the way he engineered that last drive for Limestone?
Making good decisions and maybe a little bit more fleet of foot than I thought, and ability to pick up some yardage, make decisions, isn't there, quick decisions, and able to utilize some outstanding play calling is too, to mix it up, keep that North Greenville defense off balance a little bit here early on.
The confidence is there, the athletic ability is there. It's the decision making, the one area that Limestone was working on with Corbin, and you can see progress from 1 week to the next. That much is sure. Another carry for Patton and more positive first down yards. Second down and 3.
Yeah, Jason, if people weren't with us, one last week against Tusculum, and the young man turned the ball over 6 times, did a great job, put the play behind you and move on, able to do that and win the game. And talk with Coach Furry this week, you know, just from a decision-making standpoint, I think he's done a good job. If it's not there, throw it away and, you know, hand the ball off. Don't be afraid to do that as well, and keep it when you can. And so far, so good for Limestone.
Well, and you see him on the sideline there. It's his character that rubs off on a guy like Ivan Corbin Jr. This is enough for a first down. It'll move the change for Limestone on a little toss out near side and a connection with Vincent Smith. He said 3 things I preach to our guys over and over again. Stay even, kill. Don't be scared to fail. How about those 6 turnovers and bouncing right back from fans at home maybe saying, when are you going to let him live those 6 turnovers down? No, it's a remarkable thing to those of us who have watched him play, and certainly an accomplishment and a high compliment that he was able to overcome that a week ago. Stay even, kill, don't be afraid to fail, and finish the play. He used a baseball analogy. He said in baseball, you always have to run it out to first base because you never know. Is the fielder going to drop the ball? Is something going to go awry on the throw? He said we teach our guys, stay even, kill, don't be afraid to fail. Go ahead and put yourself out there and finish every single play. Those three elements have become a recipe for Limestone
And
success.
you have to have at least 100%, if not more, if there is such a thing, from an effort standpoint.
Yeah,
too.
he said, my grandfather used to say to me all the time, 110%. I never knew what that meant until I played football. And now I understand. Give more than you think you can. And that among the challenges that he levies on this Limestone football team week in and week out. First down at the 45-yard line. And a flag thrown in just as the play is developing. Under 10 minutes to go first half. Saints moving toward midfield once again in what has been an evenly played contest so far. We don't have the privilege of having the benefit of having numbers in front of us right now.
North Greenville.
As you hear North Greenville assess with a sideline warning. Don't have the benefit of having numbers in front of us right now. We're going to try to get some of those for you at the half. But, Tom, the feel of this game is that it has been very evenly played.
Yeah, it's been a good one so far. And, you know, I think Limestone has done what they've needed to do, keep the ball away from North Greenville so far and put together a couple pretty long drives.
On 2nd down and 8, Corbin looks to that Limestone sideline. Now, one thing, when you glance over at that Limestone sideline, they are not hurting for numbers. There are a lot of white jerseys over there wanting to be a part of this young program. Toss to Fleming, and Deontay Fleming makes the catch near the chains. And he's going to be about a yard shy of the first down, so 3rd and 1 coming for the Saints.
Yeah, yeah, 2 on that side of the field, run 1 deep, cut underneath it. Nice throw there. You know, Fleming we talked about with the 20 catches, and Vincent Smith with 13 catches coming in and spread it around a little bit. 2 different types of receivers there. Smith at 6'3", 195.
Immediately met as North Greenville's Desmond Williams, a 6'2", 255-pound defensive lineman, gets in there. Williams introduces himself quickly to the Limestone back.
Yeah, no opportunity there. Williams at Piedmont from Wren High School, 16 tackles coming in, and 3 on top of it.
Big 3rd down stop, 4th down, and Limestone, having already converted one of these near midfield, just on their side of the 50 earlier, going to go for it again here on 4th.
Maybe.
Need 3 if, as you said, maybe, if they in fact attempt to roll the dice here. And they will. Screen pass, Fleming, 1st down Limestone. It looks like the initial glance is that he was across the 45, which is where he needed to be. They're going to spot the football right on the 45-yard line. And the signal's already been made. 1st down Saints. They get it by inches.
I'll tell you, when that play developed, I thought there were too many players in the congested area there, but what a catch and the forward momentum to get the 1st down.
8 minutes and change remaining in the first half. Limestone and North Greenville both scoring on their most recent drives. And the Saints on the march once again. Carry for Bain, and he gets through the hole quickly and is down to the 31-yard line. Bain moves the change once more, and this Limestone offense looking to be in a rhythm now, Tom.
I'll tell you, getting a chance tonight. 7 carries, 42 yards, averaging 6 yards per carry coming in. And what you like there again is just didn't jam it up inside, waited just a beat. The block came, caught off the backside block there, and that provided an opportunity to pick up 1st down.
Limestone quickly up to the line, but take their time looking over for the play call. North Greenville defense, having been out there for some time, remember the long drives belong to Limestone. North Greenville's score came quickly. And Corbin Jr.'s arm on display, a hang with him catch in the end zone. Limestone touchdown. What a job juggling it by Vincent Smith. And Smith, who is known for extending the field, extends his arms and makes the play. Vincent Smith, some excitement on the perimeter for Limestone, and the Saints are back out front.
How about the concentration to be able to corral it and get the touchdown? I'm sure we'll get a look at it again, but remarkable catch there by the young man.
Vincent Smith, the other guy besides Simmons, the defender we were talking about, who unfortunately was lost for the year earlier. Smith, the other guy on the team, getting some interest from NFL teams along the way. Easy to see why. The way he stayed with that last catch, back turned to the goal line in the end zone. And though he puts Limestone up by 6, the extra point fails, so it will remain 13-7. But one more look at this catch by Vincent Smith. That's an outstanding play at any level. Vincent Smith with a moment that will live past tonight for Limestone and everybody who's here in Tigerville. Good one going between a couple of 2-1 Division II foes. Take another look at Smith on this catch, and it's going to be coming right at you, Tom.
I mean, and there was good defensive presence there. The great concentration, tip to himself, comes down with the catch. Great play.
Well, if he doesn't make it in football, he's got that juggling act to work with moving forward. He's got certainly a very high ceiling in this game, and as we mentioned, some prospects on the NFL side, perhaps for Vincent Smith. Easy to see why. Here comes North Greenville on the return. Crusaders get a block outside that will allow them across the 25 up to the 27-yard line on the return by Harold Hilton. And Crusaders going to take over Limestone, forcing a fumble, driving down and scoring. North Greenville answering with a long touchdown run by Hurd, a drive that took just under 2 minutes. Saints come right back methodically, 9 plays, 80 yards, 4.5 minutes again for Limestone. The long catch by Smith, 32 yards, and the Crusaders find themselves trailing again with 7:09 to play first half.
But the last 2 Limestone possessions, 21 yards, 149, or 21 plays, 149 yards, and both drives 4.5 plus.
First down carry, Hurd again after that long run a moment ago. And he's swallowed up in traffic, but a positive gain of about 4 yards as the clock dips under 7 minutes remaining in the first half. This North Greenville team, we kind of brushed over their year last season, started 4-4, and Coach Jeff Farrington said there was a moment when we were at North Alabama. The game was over. Things had not gone our way. We were 500 on the season at 4-4, and we were taking cold showers. And he said maybe we deserved it. We were taking cold showers and had to decide were we going to dig deeper and allow that season to turn into something. A toss out near side, covered well. It's broken up as Limestone gets Raymond Hall out there. Some of the home fans wanted a flag on the attempted pass to Sanders, but there is none. And third down is coming. But he said we were taking those cold showers at the end of that game and decided to stay the course. They reeled off 3 straight against Wingate, against Carson Newman, against Limestone to get into the postseason. They reeled off 2 more wins, went 3 games deep into the playoffs, and it is going to be a season to remember for a long time here in Tigerville.
Yeah, and you go back to 2011 when Willie Corn was here, and they went 3rd round as well, losing at Delta State that year.
A team that won a couple of victory bowls in those days as well, with plays like this. Hanging in there and tossing a completion into the arms of Deontay Bryan as Will Hunter, and moved the chains. North Greenville is quickly at midfield.
Tell you what, I think that's a big reception there, given the fact the last 2 drives it resulted in touchdowns for Limestone. You don't have to punt it away. You can keep this drive alive. Good look at Bryant there.
Into Limestone territory at the 48-yard line. You know, we talked with Coach Farrington, Tom, about that season last year. And, you know, they give you sometimes, the coaches, they don't want to put too much stock into something that happened in the past, so they'll kind of brush it off a little bit. But you know, and he eventually came around to admitting that it does affect the future from a recruiting standpoint, from a belief of what you can accomplish in the Division II playoff standpoint. It does affect the future of this program.
Well, let me just tell you, because I was at Pittsburgh State for 15 years and broadcast 5 national championship games, all of them from North Alabama. It's a tough place to play. You get that extra 2, 3, how many weeks of practice. It makes a big difference in your football program.
And you see North Greenville building on that, and Hurd, as this drive continues at the 5.5-minute mark with a 2nd down carry that is near first down yardage. It'll be about a yard shy, and a big 3rd down coming up just inside the 40.
Tell you, it's a good ball game we've got going here. I think that conversion a moment ago because they wanted to call the play prior to that, but I think it was pretty good defense. It just hit him in the helmet. I think he was hustling over that way. I understand why Sanders wanted the call there, but then able to come back, reel it in, and get that first down. Becomes a big play.
Everything you want out of this one to this point. Tristan Jackson getting the handoff. First time we call Tristan Jackson's name, giving a bit of a breather to Hurd. Jackson, with all his size, bangs up in there in the midst of that Limestone defensive front. And on third down is close to a first down. Let's see where they spot this one.
You know, kind of finish off your story. It wasn't like Coach Farrington made his team take cold show.
Exactly.
Because of the way they played, it just so happened sound like the old
Come
Boston,
again, Andy.
old Boston Garden. You go in there and play, and with Red Auerbach, they would do that. It's a tough place to play. North Alabama went on and lost in the national championship game last year in a snowstorm in Kansas City to Northwest Missouri, 29-3.
Well, and you talk about history here at North Greenville, and some of it being made last year. Andre Bernardi showing up down on the sidelines a moment ago, as this is incomplete in double coverage far side. Second down coming from inside the 40-yard line. And Andre Bernardi, now the strength and conditioning coach here at North Greenville, still has his name a lot of places in the record books for his impact and our trips here to North Greenville over the years. So both these programs with bright futures because of the environment that has been created around them and the building blocks that are already in place, even though they're at two different stages in development. And they're playing a well of a football game in front of us here tonight. Inside the 35 and down to the 34-yard line, spun around is the ball carrier Hurd. And here's another third down for the Crusaders, trailing at 13-7 as we begin to close in on the final moments of the first half.
Yeah, kind of settling in here. You know, we went punt, recovery, punt, and then 3 consecutive touchdowns. And North Greenville trying to make it 4 here.
Timeout being called for by Limestone.
Timeout, Limestone.
Let's check in field side with the third member of our broadcast team. Ansley Brock has been gathering info down there. Ansley, what do you have?
Yeah, guys, you could definitely tell the intensity is picking up on both the sidelines. But over here on the North Greenville side, the players, they're kind of getting a little heated. You can tell they have passion. But the coaches, they have full belief in their players, telling them, don't worry, guys, we're good. We got this. We're better.
So Ansley telling you no panic on that North Greenville sideline. Obviously a lot of football left in this one, but you have to be impressed with what you've seen from the Limestone Saints. It's still a road environment for a young football program, and they are unfazed to this juncture.
Well, and you go back and kind of brush over it maybe too quickly. This is, you see Coach Fury there, 4th year. I mean, you
started in 2014.
You're starting from scratch. I mean, that's difficult to, go out and recruit and try to get people to the program. But in visiting with Coach Fury, he said, that first year you try to lay the foundation and then try to get them to believe in what you want them to do and your schematics and all that kind of stuff. And he felt pretty good. I mean, you won 5-6 a year ago, after you won, 2 games and 14, 2 games, 15.
Competed as an independent in the first 3 seasons, now an associate member of the South Atlantic Conference. And we should mention, though North Greenville is still working their way into the Gulf South, Limestone functions as a full member, in essence, on the football side of the South Atlantic Conference. They can win the title this year should they win more games than everyone else standings-wise. Here's a toss out near side, caught by Deontay Bryan again. The wide receiver reels it in. Move the chains. Big third down conversion for North Greenville there, Tom.
That's 3 in a row. They've been able to move the chains, and the clock continues to move. Under 4 minutes right now. And you think about a Limestone team that came in preseason tied for 7 with Lenore Ryan in the South Atlantic Conference. And
top of the standings right now after that 1-0 start.
You mentioned North Alabama. They're leaving the Gulf South and headed to the Big South in football and the A-Sun and every other sport. And that's where North Greenville is headed to this.
And it's similar to the way things will be for Limestone and North Greenville. It's a big lick, and the ball pops loose at around the 17-yard line. It's going to be gathered back up by the Crusaders. Big offensive lineman in there to secure it as Jewel Bell ends up with the football in his hands. This is a collision to be remembered. Watch this.
Yep.
A couple of guys blocking one another, and Hurd just runs right into the danger zone. Hops off, and again, fortunately for North Greenville, they fall on the football, so it stays with the Crusaders. Second down coming.
There's Manny Ogletree.
Yeah, finishing up on that, this North Greenville team remains in Conference Carolina's everything but football, as this is tossed toward the end zone, incomplete. Flag is down at the 25-yard line. Greenville thinking in terms of a free play if it was going to go against the Saints, but it's against the Crusaders and it'll back them up. North Greenville remains Conference Carolinas for everything else except for football. Limestone, interestingly enough, these two are rivals in just about every other sport. They remain Conference Carolinas in most everything except for football, but going into the Gulf South for the Crusaders won't happen as far as their ability to compete until next year, when they will become very familiar with the Atlanta traffic. Most everybody they play, they'll have to...
Number 64, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
And there was that holding call we told you a moment ago. They'll get very familiar with the Atlanta traffic. Most everybody they play down that way. Truly a Gulf-based conference, as they'll head to Alabama, Mississippi, down into Florida. Can do their competing for the conference crown next year. Limestone able to do that right away. The point we're making, they are full-fledged from a football standpoint, a member of the South Atlantic Conference on the football side. Second and long now. Big third down conversion a moment ago by North Greenville, but now behind the sticks again here, Tom.
We'll see if they dial up here.
Over the middle, and it's picked off in the end zone. Limestone with a second forced turnover with the Crusaders driving. And coming out of there with it for Limestone is Manny Ogletree. You called his name just a moment ago. He was involved in that big lick, and here he comes away with the pick. Look at Ogletree, steps right in front and is able to make the catch.
Intended for Mason Sanders, a little bit underthrown, but boy, I tell you, stride for stride, Ogletree in front right there and able to come away with a pick.
Ogletree had already grabbed your attention prior on this drive, but this will be the moment for which he's remembered. A fumble forced and recovered by Limestone. They marched down and scored the first points of the ball game after that. Saints now looking to do the same after an interception in the end zone. Touchback brings it out to the 20. Corbin Jr. all kind of space for his back as he hands to Patton. And Patton not rushed out of bounds until he gets across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Now some space to work with, certainly some time to work with. 2:25 to play first half for Limestone.
Well, this will be a microcosm of his abilities. He made a couple of cuts in traffic and, you know, used patience as well. We saw Bain do the same thing, cut off a block, but, you know, the footwork that you see there, and I tell you, the maturity for this young man, the freshman coming out of Charlotte, 28 carries, 134 last week, and that overtime win over Tuscaloosa.
I like some of the words you're using tonight. I like some of those words, microcosm, and we're doing college
Can't
football.
spell 'em,
well, we
you know.
got to step it up a level because we're doing college football tonight, that's for sure, on these campuses. And even those of us here, you know, a guy like me in the upstate of South Carolina, I can appreciate some of the breakdown you're bringing to the table. And all joking aside, Tom, do break down for us what we've seen from these two teams so far, because here we are now having just dipped under 2 minutes to play first half. We've got ourselves a ball game.
Yeah, I think Limestone's done what they've needed to do to come in here, and you know, obviously you want to win the game, you want to stay competitive. You do have the lead in the ball game, but some long drives, some sustained drives, and they've been able to finish them off. And they did what they were able to do last year, forcing 32 turnovers. They've got two big ones here tonight, a fumble recovery, and then also with the interception a moment ago.
What were those North Greenville keys to the game? Possess the football and protect the football. And Limestone has made it very difficult to do either of those so far. Flag coming in. Back judge, and here's the call.
Offense number 10, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
So back Limestone up 5, second down and long coming with 1:58 to play. They're going to face a second down and 15. They need the North Greenville 48-yard line.
Where their defense, again, Jason, we talked about the turnovers, but we gave you the numbers, and we'll do so throughout the course. Their 252 total is 7th best in Division II right now. They're strong against the run and the pass.
A couple of teams with momentum coming off wins. And we played to a 1-score differential in the latter stages of the first half. Limestone facing third down and long after a loss. Chance for North Greenville to get off the field and perhaps take the final minute or so of this half for a spin. You have to remember, North Greenville has all 3 timeouts remaining. So even though it's just 90 seconds or so left right now, they come away with a stop on this play. They can think about doing something with the time that remains on the clock. Limestone out of timeouts, just in case you're wondering. as you should be able to see there on the scorebug bottom of your screen. 3rd and long. Again, the 48-yard line, what Limestone is looking for of North Greenville. Won't happen, very minimal gain. And now the Crusaders will call that timeout with 4th and around 14 coming.
Timeout, North Greenville.
A good job in the North Greenville defense and able to slow the Limestone offense, who had a couple of back-to-back drives. 12 plays, 69 yards and 458, 9 plays, 80 yards and 430. And they got to get off the field, get your offense back on. And with Hunter throwing the football a year ago, 3,000 yards at 23 touchdowns, those 8 interceptions before those came in the 38-0 loss to North Alabama. You can stretch it a little bit. So get it back one more time. Let's see if they decide to go after the punter and pressure that, or whether they'll try to come up with a return. Hilton's been pretty good so far.
You saw both head coaches there. Jeff Farrington on Limestone, he said they're athletic, they're well coached, they have good personnel, and I expect a dogfight tonight looking across the other side at those Limestone Saints. He's getting it. Both these teams have brought their A game. We mentioned they're peaking right now, both of them, because of where they've been the last couple of weeks, and it shows. 13-7 the score. North Greenville with a couple of timeouts remaining, and the return man for the Crusaders, Harold Hilton, standing back at his own 20-yard line. There is Hilton. Pressure from North Greenville. Not quite able to get there. Hilton getting away from the football, takes a major Limestone bounce inside the 15. He'll be blown dead at the 14 with 59.9 up on the game clock, just under a minute to play. And here comes Will Hunter and the 2-minute offense for North Greenville.
Yeah, we'll see how they decide to play this one. Take a couple of shots maybe, and defensively how Limestone plays it as well. And you never know when you punt the football, it's the oblong ball, where it hits, where it's going to go. And it kicked in the Saints' favor and down to the 14-yard line. So I think the Saints have come in here, and from their standpoint, they've been playing from behind so long all year. Lost at East Tennessee State. Out of the Southern Conference, 31-10, then they won the overtime game with Benedictine. And talking about Smith, they had to convert 3rd and 30 on that last drive, and they did with a 42-yard catch to even have a chance to win that game against Benedict.
Under a minute to work with for North Greenville. There's the first of a number of passes that will be needed near the sidelines in this 2-minute offense. It's caught by Mason Sanders. Move the chains for North Greenville up near the 30. Mason Sanders, all kind of size, runs solid routes, and it's a beautiful picture of what Sanders can do. Don't be surprised if he's targeted once or twice more on this drive. All kind of time provided by that North Greenville offensive line, and it's just going to be thrown away with 46 seconds left. Second down coming.
Yeah, that's a good decision there. It wasn't there to begin with, and just kind of throw it out of bounds. And talking about Mason Sanders at 6'6", 230, a senior out of Boiling Springs, and what a job Rick Tate has done there. Played for the championship a year ago, and a year ago for Sanders, 600 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns. And he's an outstanding career here in North Greenville.
It's been a remarkable weapon in the arsenal of Jeff Farrington. See what he rolls up. Draws up and designs. More Sanders. A nice tiptoe of the sidelines over there to make the play. Gets a foot in and moves the chains for North Greenville. Up near midfield now with 41 seconds left.
And don't get beat deep, and able to utilize the sideline there as well to keep those timeouts. Remember, Matt Gravely and his ability to kick the football, got good distance as well. It's 5 of 7 in field goals this year.
Strong leg for Gravely. Hit from 19 and 30 last week for North Greenville. Laying out, trying to make the catch as Brian is just out of his hands. Talk about Gravely, though, Tom. Hit a 52-yarder at Lenore Ryan, which Jeff Farrington said really could have been good from about 58. We said, well, how far will you try him? He said, I think we could go for anything inside of 60 when it comes to Matt Gravely. A lot of confidence for a young college kicker.
Yeah, I'd say it's in the family with his brother Justin as well. He hit a game-winning field goal as well, I believe, here at North Greenville.
Wouldn't mind to add further to the Gravely lore here on the North Greenville campus in Tigerville. 37 seconds to get him in position to try it. Cut into Limestone's 6-point lead. It's too tall, and a flag coming in from all the way on the near side, with the play developing anywhere but on the near sideline. This is going to be against Limestone.
See Coach Fury there. I mean, you're right. That call came from 53 1/3 yards away. That's how wide the field is, right?
Well, and you know what Coach Fury's saying.
I mean, it could have been. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it just came a long way.
Defense.
Going to be
Number
defensive
3,
holding.
10-yard penalty results in an automatic first down.
Well, and you know how coaches work. Coach Fury comes out and says, hey, guys, wait a minute. 3 of you guys standing right here, nobody saw anything. That came from the other side, but it's to North Greenville's benefit. Crusaders thankful another pair of eyes out there, and the holding will put the Crusaders on the Limestone side of the 50. 31 seconds still left, just over a half minute. 2 timeouts still in the back pocket of Jeff Farrington and company. And with a pro-style quarterback like Will Hunter, all kind of options are available. This is incomplete. That's the ruling. After Deontay Bryant appeared for a moment to have it, but then hit the turf. Ball came loose, and with 24 seconds to play, it'll be second down.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those cases where instead of just watching it all the way in, tried to run for it, caught it, and the ball just popped out of there. Open 3 came up. Make sure it didn't go any farther.
Second down, 47 yards separating North Greenville from pay dirt. As well as Limestone's play, Tom, North Greenville puts it in the end zone here late in the half, hits the extra point. Crusaders can find themselves ahead at the break. So critical drive and the big picture here, and helping that big picture for North Greenville, Robbie Brown with a catch over the middle. And the Crusaders now definitely thinking about the end zone and striking distance with 17 seconds to play. Take another look at the route, perfect delivery, and Robbie Brown is making them believe here on the home side as North Greenville kills the clock, spiking the football.
Yeah, we were talking about Brian a moment ago. I mean, good decision. You got 2 timeouts left. You can throw the ball over the middle. You don't have to keep working the sideline. And he just dropped the football and he turned it up to run. And then the pass there, go ahead, because they're going to stop the clock if you get a first down. Okay, they're going to go ahead and clock it there. So you still have 2 timeouts. So you can work the middle of the field. You just don't have to throw it into the end zone right now. You don't have to throw it to the sideline if you don't want to.
And still can do that with 11.4 to play. Now North Greenville going to take one of those timeouts, which will leave them with just the 1 timeout. 11.4 on the game clock. 13-7 is the Limestone lead. And the Crusaders gather up to talk about exactly how they want to attack this final 21 yards between where they are in the end zone.
Are we going to find out how many plays you can run? 11.4 seconds here?
Well, I'll let you do the math on it if you want to take a guess. We'll just wait and see what they're able to accomplish. It certainly having the 1 timeout versus the 2 timeouts now a little bit different. North Greenville wanting to make sure they get the right play in right here, but you can stop it just once to kick it now if you complete something.
There you go. You want to make sure you at least have an opportunity to get out of here with 3. So, you know, I think you can throw one underneath it if you want to and use that timeout. You can throw 2 times deep, depending on what you got. Sanders at 6'6" out there. I mean, you know, good receivers, Brown and Bryant. You know, a good defensive unit for Limestone against this. This is what you love about college football. We sit here and we speculate, and they'll probably do something completely different than what we think they might do right here.
Now we get to find out. Yeah. Limestone's 13-7 lead on the line. As North Greenville takes this final 11 seconds of the first half for a spin. Crusaders having talked about it. Hunter steps out of a potential sack. That would have been the one thing North Greenville could not afford. Absolutely. And this may be. Here's a penalty flag, and it's going to be holding against the Crusaders. That'll back them up, make it a tougher field goal on Gravely now.
Yeah, the 2 things we didn't talk about was you can't have a hold and you can't take a sack there. So
the hold will back the Crusaders up beyond the 30.
Holding, offense, number 64. 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
So instead of looking at about a 39-yard field goal, now you're looking at a field goal that, given 7 yards or so for the snap, is going to be upwards of closer to a 50-yard try for Gravely. So his world just changed in an instant with that penalty flag. With 6 seconds remaining on the clock, North Greenville going to go ahead and send him out. Good news for Gravely, he's right in the center of the field.
Well, the other part you need to understand to a certain extent, when you get to about that far, you start extending the kick, your trajectory could be a little bit lower, so we'll see how it plays out.
Gravely hit from 19 and 30 a week ago. He hit from 52 earlier in the year. This is going to be a 47-yard try. He has the leg. Can he get it there? Just wide to the right side. Gravely's field goal try, no good. And Limestone's lead holds steady at 13-7. So first half for North Greenville marked by a couple of turnovers and a missed field goal. And Limestone taking advantage of every opportunity out in front of them in position. Take a knee and take the lead to the locker room.
It goes back to what both coaches we were talking to this week. We're talking about penalties, and some hurt, some don't. That one was a big one on the holding penalty. One take, one shot in the end zone there, and turned out the holding penalty pushed back and pushed the ball just a bit to the right.
The last 2 weeks, the Limestone Saints have been forced to come from behind. They were down 17-3 in the second half a week ago before battling back to a 17-17 tie. Then down 24-17 with 5 minutes left. Corbin shaken up on a 3rd and 11 sack. Somehow the defense got them the ball back. They went 80 yards. A Bain run, set up a pass to Fleming, and then eventually the score that tied it from Patton. So this is a team used to coming from behind in scenarios like that, not going to be forced to tonight. They travel the short distance to Tigerville and carry a 13-7 lead into the locker room. A solid first half in all aspects for the Saints of Limestone College.
Yeah, they put together a couple drives, about 4.5, 5 minutes in length. Possessed the ball. Now, from North Greenville standpoint, they did turn it over a couple times, and they also missed a field goal, had a chance there late. So Limestone goes to the locker room. We got a good one going from Tigerville tonight.
Well, Coach Furry catching up with Ansley Brock. We'll get his thoughts now as his Saints are out front 13-7. Ansley?
Coach, you were able to hold the defense, hold North Greenville back going into the half. You also had Ogletree with the interception in North Greenville's red zone. Tell me what you think about that.
Well, I just think right now, obviously we're super proud of our kids because we come here, obviously an unbelievable environment, a historical school, a great program, and we're fighting with them. And obviously we got 2 quarters to go, but obviously we've shown resilience over the last 2 weeks, and it's continuing to show tonight.
All right, Coach, get back to your boys. Thanks for your time. Jason, back to you.
Mike Furry pleased with what he has seen from his Limestone Saints. Great environment here at North Greenville. Great football game. 13-7 the lead at the half. Back with halftime coverage on the other side of the break. The Limestone Saints up 13-7.
Welcome back to the halftime show here at North Greenville University, where we have Limestone playing North Greenville Crusaders. Brought to you by Ingalls. Today I am here with Dr. Fant, the president of North Greenville University. Dr. Fant, thank you so much for taking your time today. Let's go back to 1985 when you began teaching. Did you ever see yourself becoming a president of a university?
All I wanted to be was a rock star back then. I was trying to be a songwriter, and teaching was just a way to pay the bills. But things changed a little bit after that.
How did you get into the music industry, and also how did you switch over to teaching?
Well, my mom's in the music industry. She still is. She has a syndicated radio show. And in fact, she has a new album coming out this year, believe it or not, at age 29 plus, but you can go on from that. So had a foot in the door. We had a family band and things like that. So I had a lot of fun with that. And what happened was I was receiving recognition for the song lyrics I was writing. So I switched to poetry, which I switched to English, which I ended up, that's how I got a doctorate in English, because I fell in love with the teaching and the academic part of it.
Sounds like a lot of transition throughout, your college years, your college age years, and post-college age years. So you can really relate to the college students here who might be wanting to switch majors from music to English or really anything.
Well, what happens a lot of times is you get exposed to a faculty member or to a staff member, and all of a sudden they identify something for you that you never even thought was possible and never crossed your mind before. And that's what happened with me. All of a sudden I switched and was thinking, wait a minute, maybe I could do this. That's something very different, and absolutely fell in love with it. But I can identify the conversations with faculty members that really changed the direction. And that's the beauty of a place like North Greenville, is we have students who are not just numbers. They actually are known. We talk about intellectual discipleship, where faculty members and staff members really do get to know students and make those changes.
You really seem to know the importance of one-on-one. What is your view here at North Greenville and how you can really be one-on-one with the students?
Well, I'm trying to reach out as much as I can, and it's hard for me to do a lot of intense stuff. But hey, I've been known to even post a few things on student Facebook pages, which I think I did a grumpy cat no to somebody this week. And, it's just a lot of fun. And part of that is that when you do have relationships with people, it really does allow you to have the opportunity to speak into their lives. And while at my level it's hard for me to be able to spend a lot of time on that, I really do still crave after that. I'm probably one of the only presidents in the country that has a whiteboard on his wall because I'm a professor. I still want to teach. And when I have people in my office, sometimes I'll say, ooh, let me get the whiteboard going. And I still think that models out throughout everything that we do. I tell people I'm the only person on campus who teaches all of the students on campus because I'm the one that cultivates all the faculty, all the staff, and so forth. And it still does kind of scratch my itch a little bit to have that relationship with students.
And you also really know the importance of extracurricular activities, talking about your music, but also while you were at Union, you helped transition from going from NAIA to NCAA Division II for your student athletes. Coming into a university that is so competitive in the athletics, how does that help you relate?
Well, what I tell people all the time is that athletics is one of the ways that for a lot of students it's the only opportunity they would have to attend a 4-year university. And as they get a degree and they get into a career that is a satisfying, not just career, but calling, it can actually change their family tree. And as I've had lunch with alums who've come, I keep hearing that same North Greenville story, that up on that hill, I discovered what my life's calling was. And a lot of these are athletes, and athletics was the way for them to have a discipline, to have relationships in their lives, and to help them discover that they could be more than what they thought they could be in high school. I would have been a terrible songwriter, but I think I'm a pretty good administrator, and I think that's part of what we do is help students to lift up their eyes and see that there's a world that's bigger than them, but there might even be a calling that's bigger than what they're thinking about, and I think that's part of what North Greenville is all about.
How is the Crusader Nation treating you and your family?
Everybody's awesome. We're loving it, and all I just keep telling people is, go Crusaders.
Well, we want to thank you for every single thing that you're doing, and we are so excited to see where you take North Greenville in the future. Everybody, stay tuned for Jason and Tom.
Welcome back to the halftime show. Have a chance to catch up with Micah Sepko, the Associate Athletic Director here at North Greenville University. And Micah, your tenure here goes back a long ways, and you've done a little bit of everything. Share with folks what all your hands are involved in these days.
Well, these days, Jason, I am the Associate Athletic Director, which is in charge of operations, sports information, and then I have that little other piece out there called the Director of Crusader Club, which is all of the development and fundraising for athletics. So a busy slate there for sure.
Let's talk about the specifics of athletics right now. This fine facility is a stellar representation of the university, and it's high times around here. You look at the deep playoff run in D2 on the football side a year ago, but that's just the tip of the iceberg with everything that's happening in sports.
Yeah, I mean, football is just one of 3 or 4 of them have done really well lately. I mean, softball won the conference last year, baseball a couple years before, basketball a couple years before, baseball made a deep run again, and but football, has been in the last 5 years we've done well as an independent, which is tough, as you well know. Next year's going to really be the key, though, when we go in that Gulf South Conference to see where we stand up with the big boys.
Share with the fans just how much that changes now, going from being an independent all these years to now working your way into conference football.
Well, as an independent, you're struggling to get a schedule all the time. So strength of schedule is always one of those. 1 year it's up, 1 year it's down. In the Gulf South, I kind of refer to it, and it's kind of changing now in the landscape of Division I, but the ACC or the SEC of Division II football. Sure. Whereas, we've had a strong SAC presence when it comes to that, which is strong football also, but we really feel we align up well with the Gulf South in football. Obviously, we didn't want to take everybody else over there right now. That's a lot of travel. I think next year I looked at the schedule. We go to Delta State, which is a nice 11-hour drive, and we go to Florida Tech, which is another nice 11-hour drive. Sure. So, it's going to be a little more travel on our part, but it's going to be good for us.
When you make a jump like you're making, it takes all hands on deck, and that's where the Crusader Club comes in. You're asking asking the fans to also raise their level of support for this program?
Oh, yeah, we need every dollar that someone can give us. I mean, if someone can give us $10, it makes a difference. We have a lot of different levels, but yes, the Crusader Club is an integral part of all the things that you see here. We use some of the money for scholarships. We use some of the money for facilities. We use some of the money for staff. I mean, it goes across the board, so we can't do it without support from our alumni, from our parents, from our students. We have student memberships, everything. So
we certainly appreciate you hosting us. Always a privilege to be here and all you do. Thanks so much, Micah.
No, we appreciate it.
That's Micah Sepko. He represents the athletic department here at North Greenville University. Stay with us. We'll have more of the halftime show on the other side of the break.
Well, those are some familiar faces. That's some of Greg's family down there. Greg's wife, and of course a family connection here on the team at North Greenville. And we say thanks to all the guys in the truck for making tonight a success and giving us the opportunity to have some pretty good pictures to work with. Great pictures, actually, to work with in what has been an outstanding football game. 13-7 is the score. Limestone in the lead. North Greenville is our host tonight. They welcomed us onto their campus for a little more on the Crusaders and those who make up the student body here. Let's check in with Ansley.
Yeah, guys, I actually have North Greenville student himself, Bradley Sund. How are you doing in the game tonight?
Doing good. It's a good game. A little disappointing so far, but I think we'll come back.
Yeah, well, you actually have your own business, right? It's called Workhorse Artscapes, correct? Tell me a little bit about that.
So that's a major landscaping and hardscaping redo business. So we don't really mow lawns as much as we put in new side and new patios. We try to specialize in major contracts in the Greater Greenville upstate area. So, recently we did a flood drain and put in some soffits in there. So.
Well, how did the hurricane season kind of really impact? Did y'all get out to the community any, or what have y'all been doing?
So we actually had a day where we sponsored a charity event. So I didn't pay any of my employees. They were all really cool and decided not to take money. And we just went out with some of our gear and helped get trees off cars and houses and such. So we never took anything off of a house because of insurance purposes, but we had people begging us all day long. They said, there was a tree on my house, can you help me take it off? And so there were it was really emotional day, honestly, because there were people who had been devastated or hurt in serious ways, but we were able to help the community a little bit, take some trees off some cars and, help some people out. So it was a fun day. Yeah.
What was the most beautiful part, you think, like your favorite part of getting out there?
Well, I mean, there was one where the root ball of the tree was as big as the house. It was almost a 20-foot root ball, and the neighbors were all helping each other. And so we showed up, and we helped a lot, but the neighbors were driving around helping each other get trees out of their houses and such. So it was actually really, really cool and a whole lot more of a community thing than I expected. And that was just 10 minutes from here at Furman, where there was a tree just on houses and things like that. So it was really cool, and it really benefited, I think, my guys who are North Greenville alums also, to learn how to give back to the community. So.
Well, that is outstanding that y'all, just college students, are able to get out to the community and make such a large impact on them, especially in times like that. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. Guys, check out more North Greenville football after this break.
Well-played competitive game between the Limestone Saints and North Greenville Crusaders. Pair of 2-1 teams at the Division II level duking it out tonight from Tigerville. We talk about the even nature of this game. 242 yards of total offense for Limestone, 239 yards of total offense for North Greenville. You cannot get much closer than that, and you cannot get better than what we've seen in the red zone. That's Ivan Corbin Jr. with an early touchdown, and here's a long run by Ashton Hurd to answer.
Yeah, able to let 41 yards. That after Tracy Scott was hurt early in the ball game. That tied it up at 7 back-to-back touchdowns, and then next possession, there you go. Look at this catch.
Outstanding catch by Smith. He reels this in. Watch the juggling act for the touchdown. North Greenville had an answer for that as well, Tom, as they marched down, but they could not complete the drive. The interception for Limestone, the game changer toward the end of the half, reeled in by Ogletree. You put Ogletree's interception alongside the early fumble, those are the differences in the game.
Yeah, a couple turnovers there, and then there was a big holding penalty that pushed it back and missed a field goal. You look at some of the halftime stats there, pretty good, 239 against a team that only gives up 252. A balanced 144 and 95 on the ground, 144 through the air.
And as you'll see, only 3 yards difference between these two teams when you talk about total offense in the first half.
It's been a good one so far. A couple turnovers in this one, a missed field goal. Tracy Scott was out because of the injury there, I think, on the second session of the ball game. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out here in the second half.
Tracy Scott, we were told, in a boot when last spotted just before halftime. So you would think that we have seen the last of Tracy Scott tonight. And the combo of Hurd and a couple of other North Greenville backs that have been worked in, primarily Hurd, will be responsible for carrying the load the rest of the way. No score after the first period of action. All the points in this one to this juncture scored in the second quarter. 13-7 is the Limestone lead. Saints had the first crack at it offensively, so North Greenville receives the kick after winning the toss and deferring prior to the ball game. Across the 35 to the 40, spin move is North Greenville's return man, Ali Shockley. 6-foot defensive back is able to use his size to get across the 40, and here come the Crusaders. First half numbers for Will Hunter, 10 of 19. He was picked off in the end zone. 144 yards, his long pass, 26 so far on the night.
I think effective throwing the football, and then you look at Ashton Hurd, who took the load up when Scott was injured, 9 for 61 at a touchdown, and he'll be called upon again here pretty much here in the second half. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments they make. I think, overall able to move the ball. We kind of gave you the numbers there, and this is against one of the Limestone defense. It's the 7th best in the country in Division II in total defense.
And you have to be pleased if you're on the visiting side right now, and certainly the Limestone coaches, with the fact that they're without a guy like we talked about in the case of Simmons, Joshua Simmons, their leader. He was lost for the year because of that foot injury, and yet the entire defense as a unit, having stepped up for Limestone, securing for them the lead at the half for North Greenville. And they're trying to get to the 48-yard line of the Saints on second down. And this will help. Spin move after initial contact. And Ashton Hurd, as helmets go rolling, is inside the 35-yard line. Ashton Hurd not content with the first lick he receives. He keeps on ticking, and helmet or no helmet, he moves the chains for North Greenville.
So he runs hard, you see there. No center of gravity, 5'9", 180. Helmet comes off. I thought somebody was going to jump on that. I thought it was a football.
Sideline warning, Limestone.
We had a North Greenville sideline warning in the first half. Now in the early stages of our second half, Limestone sideline warning. Well, you can't blame the guys on both sides for creeping up a little bit with how intense this one has been through the first 2 quarters plus. Both those now, if you're keeping track at home, have been warned. So the next activity from either of the sidelines resulting in a penalty that could prove very costly on a night like this one. Will Hunter on first down. Receiver falls down, so he has to go through his progression, and then will end up trying to connect with Sanders at the 25-yard line. But it's off his fingertips, incomplete. You saw that play at least look like it was designed to go the other way. But losing his footing, Robbie Brown was not available. And Will Hunter had to make a quick adjustment.
Yeah, he did, and as you said, he went through his progressions there, found Sanders, but just couldn't come up with the reception there. I also thought, and we always talk about it, coaches talk about it, broadcasters as well, at first possession in the third quarter. I think for North Greenville, this is a big one, given driving down, looked like they might have a chance to take a lead at halftime. The holding penalty missed the field goal. Now they get a chance to start third quarter.
Left side over the tackle and able to run it for positive yardage. North Greenville's Lateef Hughes Jr., the 5'8", 190-pound running back, getting a look. And now after one play, he'll come off. 3rd down and 6 coming for North Greenville. Early 3rd down. It's going to have some say about the complexion of this game, which right now is a 1-score contest.
And we saw North Greenville on that final drive for the half, although they missed the field goal. They converted on 3 consecutive 3rd downs to provide themselves with an opportunity to get on the board.
Pass out. Has his footing this time is Brown, and he's inside the 30. So 4th down and 2 for North Greenville from inside Limestone's 30-yard line. Crusaders going to send Gravely back out there. He was making them from over 50 yards during the intermission, but again, he missed the field goal at the end of the first half. from distance that was just a little bit longer than this. This is going to be a 44-yard try from the right hash this time for Gravelly. So you see a 50-plus yarder already on the year against Lenore Ryan. And his kick this time is good. Well, North Greenville pulling a little closer. They cut the 6-point Limestone lead in half. 12:26 to go, third period. 13-10 from Tigerville.
Game night dinner doesn't have to be stressful. Stop by the Ingalls Deli. It's dinner and a snap, then off to the game. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
13-10 after the 40-plus yard field goal from Matt Gravelly. And Limestone about to get the football back. Saints will touch it for the first time in the second half. Part of the spirit, part of the environment there, the North Greenville cheerleaders down in front of that student section, which is lively tonight, Tom, and they've got a little more to be lively about after the Crusaders get the first points of the second half.
Hey, this is a great atmosphere for college football. On North Greenville side is family day and a lot of fans on hand, and Limestone has traveled well. You look on the far side, you get a couple of looks on our broadcast tonight, and it's about full on the other side as well.
Families are here, as we said a moment ago. Some families connected to some of the guys doing a great job for you in the truck tonight. This is going to go through the end zone, and a touchback will bring Limestone out to start their offensive portion of the half with 12:26 remaining. We talk even when we talk statistically in this game. The one area that's not even, the 2 turnovers that Limestone has forced. Credit the Limestone defense with that. Another even area, though, 14 first downs apiece for these two teams. Stack that up with those yardage totals, which were pretty close as well.
And you got a 13-10 ball game, and here comes Limestone, who came in 283 total yards per game. They got 242 in the first half, 159 to the ground, and 83 through the air. So they were effective in the first half offensively.
And the young offensive line making that happen. They open up some space in the middle, and this somehow is fumbled into the arms of a teammate by Ivan Corbin Jr. He fumbles this into the grasp of Vincent Smith, and that looked nothing like it was intentional, Tom. Let's take another glance and see. He just lost the football right into Smith's arms.
I think it was knocked out from behind there. The second look, good work, camera crew. That ball just punched out of there. Nice play by Travis Beatty, and then it was recovered. And pretty good game turned out to be there.
Maybe found is the right word by Vincent Smith there. It found him. First down Saints at the 35-yard line. Ball has to bounce your way a little bit in a game like this, too.
12-13 on the clock.
As you hear the changes to time, they're going to put about 10 seconds back up on the game clock. Night like tonight where things are even, you have to get some bounces.
Well, you always talk about baseball, and we do a lot of baseball. You might go to the game and see something you've never seen before. Very seldom you go see that poked out from behind, good defensive play, and captured by another player for Limestone to advance it down the field, 36-yard line.
So after all of that, first down for the Saints just inside their own 40-yard line. Third quarter action. And a toss for Smith. Another jump ball that this time goes North Greenville's way. Well, they were fighting for it all the way down, and when the dust settled, the Crusaders with the football. Vincent Smith tried to go up and get another one of those 50-50 balls like the one he scored on earlier for Limestone, but this time around, Tom, Johnny Worthy, 6 foot, 180-pound DB for North Greenville, wins the jump ball.
I'll tell you, when that ball left the hand of Corbin Jr., I thought that was going to be a touchdown. Smith was behind him, the closing speed there, to hung up just a bit. And we saw the catch early in the game, as you mentioned, the juggling catch for a touchdown. But boy, what an outstanding play by Worthy to rip it out of there and come away with an INT.
First turnover for Limestone. It comes on their initial drive of the second half. Just one note, we talked about it going into the intermission. It's worth repeating coming out of it, and that is, this is unusual territory for Limestone. Welcome, but unusual. This is a little bit unusual for North Greenville. Will Hunter can make some things happen. What did they tell us about Will Hunter? Sneaky quick with the feet. Here he comes away with a 9-yard run and has North Greenville close to a first down. I'm actually going to say This one goes for about 7 yards. So second down and 3 coming as it's spotted back at the 32-yard line. But this is a Limestone team used to coming from behind, out front at the half for the first time.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out. Lost to East Tennessee, if you weren't with us earlier, 31-10. Came back, beat Benedict at 2017 in overtime, and then the last time out against Tusculum, 30-24 in OT as well, and had to score late to get into overtime.
Saints made the Crusaders pay for their early turnover in the first half. Going to happen here perhaps for North Greenville as all kind of room is found by Ashton Hurd. Hurd goes from his own 25, 30-yard line down inside Limestone territory at the 27-yard line where he's going to be marked out. 1st and 10 Crusaders as they hurry up to the line with all the momentum right now.
Yeah, 41-yard run and able to angle it, and his numbers piling up as well. I mean, usually splitting with Tracy Scott, but Scott went down with an injury early in the ball game and been called on maybe a little bit more exclusively here tonight.
From the North Greenville 32 into Limestone territory. This is nearly picked off. Big paws of Limestone's Kelvin Atkins on it on that defensive line. He just couldn't quite reel it in, but it creates second down and 10.
I'll tell you, I like the play call. They had flares left and right, short and wide side of the field. You could dump it off there and then send a man down the middle of the field. But Limestone played that well, coach. Wasn't really much there anyway, even if it had gotten over the line of scrimmage.
10:43. Just working our way into the meat of the third period. And using that terminology, watch North Greenville's Tristan Jackson use all 220 pounds on a run left side. Crusaders knocking on the door in Limestone territory once more. North Greenville only finishing the one drive to this point. And it's not like the chances have not been there in Limestone territory for the Crusaders. Let's see if they answer the coaching staff's challenge here in the third period.
We were talking about Tristan Jackson a moment ago. Came in 4 carries, 8 yards. Hadn't got to play very much, but with that injury to Scott has gotten into the ball game a couple times tonight.
Hughes, Jackson, Scott, Hurd, and then Will Hunter on that run just a moment ago, getting his name into the statistical category on the positive side. Third down becomes first down. North Greenville moves the chains, and now having marched into the red zone, they look for points and look for the lead for the first time in this one.
Yeah, we're trying to do what Limestone did to get their first touchdown after the fumble recovery by Sheldon Reed. Able to drive 12 plays and 69 yards in about 5 minutes, and trying to return that favor here, so to speak.
Well, and I should say look for the lead in an extended manner for the first time. They didn't have that 7-6 lead, that slim lead, because of the Limestone missed extra points when both teams traded touchdowns in the early part of the second quarter, back when you're talking about, Tom. And a number of white jerseys there to swarm around the football, and they'll swallow up Ashton Hurd. It was Limestone turnover forced, a fumble by North Greenville that, as you said, Saints marched down. They missed the extra point. Were able to establish the tone of the football game, however. North Greenville answered with a score of their own. Offense has been at a premium in this one. It has been fun to watch these defenses work when it counts, but here comes Ashton Hurd, and he will not be denied. Touchdown Crusaders, North Greenville out to their largest lead of the night. It's now a 16-3 advantage.
Yeah, give Hurd credit, but give those big guys up front credit as well. They've opened some holes, and then Hurd, once he gets into the open field, he's hard to catch, and he was able to pound it up inside and take it 13 for the score.
16-13. Now poised to perhaps become 17-13, and that takes it away from a field goal game. So an important extra point for Gravely. North Greenville forcing the first Limestone turnover. And then scoring on the ensuing drive, the Crusaders take a 17-13 advantage. Here's another look at the latest of the long runs by Ashton Hurd. He goes 13, finds the end zone. Well, tonight from North Greenville University, they are celebrating the touchdown run by Ashton Hurd. Now 17-13 North Greenville. 17-13 is the score. And that takes us into our food for thought. North Greenville University hosting us here tonight, Tom. Forbes has listed North Greenville among the top 600 colleges and universities. Top 10% in the United States. NGU consistently ranked as one of the top colleges or universities in the South by U.S. News and World Report. Easy to see why, as we've been on this campus throughout the day today. That is our Ingles Food for Thought for North Greenville. We'll have some food for thought related to limestone here in just a bit. And we thank the folks at Ingles for providing both. Ingles, low prices, love the savings, and they love here at home at Yount Stadium what they just saw from Ashton Hurd. North Greenville now to kick it away. It's going to be returned across the 10. Able to elude an original open field tackle, now going the wrong direction, and the Crusaders swallowing up the limestone return man on the goal line. And talking about the fans loving something, the officials talking over what they just witnessed as they end up pushing Limestone's return man to the goal line. And the coaching staff for Limestone out with fingers pointed together, which they're wanting to, for North Greenville, I should say, out with hands clasped. They were wanting a call there of a safety, and the officials still talking things over a little bit, Tom, as the ball is picked up, but no indication yet where the officials are going with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's where the football is, and, you know, it's one of those deals. You think you can make something happen. It's better off in retrospect. So they called a holding penalty against Limestone. We get a chance to look at it here.
And the ball is...
During the return,
here comes the explanation.
Receiving team, half the distance to the goal, first down.
So the holding, a little bit peripheral to the big question in everybody's mind, and that is, where's the football going to be placed here? That's the one that both coaches are really concerned with at the moment. That penalty, half the distance to the goal, is going to put it on the 1 or 2 inch line. Yeah. Limestone will work the offense from their own end zone. Ball listed on the 1 scoreboard-wise, but as you can see, it's a lot less than that. It's on the 1 foot line for the Saints. North Greenville having just forced a turnover, and they're hungry for another as they perhaps smell blood in the water right here, and they have the safety. Limestone's defensive front. Jeremiah Ferguson and company able to get in there, swallow up the ball carrier, and the Crusaders now out front 19-13. You could almost sense it coming, Tom.
Yeah, they just turned them loose right there, and that ball, you can't get much closer to the goal line than it was, and then just let it out.
And that's Desmond Williams, in there to make the stop. Take a look at Williams. Front line, a linebacking core streaking through, and there's Desmond Williams celebrating together with Jeremiah Ferguson and company. Limestone hemmed up in their own end zone, and the Crusaders, I think it's safe to say, Tom, turning this game on a dime in the last several moments.
3 scores to begin the second half with the field goal, and then you get the touchdown run by Ashton Hurd, and then the kickoff return, tried to make something happen. You got a holding penalty as well, the 1 inch slide, and then coming off the edge there, and you know, that was just an outstanding individual play. They were just trying to jam it out of there, and you know, you give it to an outstanding running back and just can't do it. Just a better play by Williams that time as he makes the tackle in the end zone.
12 unanswered for North Greenville out of the locker room. And at the 8:21 mark of the third period, Limestone, we talked about them having the lead, being out front, early third quarter. How would they handle it? This may be a little familiar territory. Saints now playing from behind, but things not going the way Coach Furry and company would like to this point in the third quarter.
And with the safety, you know, you can either kick it off the 2, you can punt it, and North Greenville's going to get the ball back. So this becomes a huge defensive possession, I think, for Limestone here about halfway through the third quarter.
As we said, game turns on a dime, major swing. Limestone opting to punt it into the air. And this is not a good one. You heard Tom's reaction, and it takes a North Greenville bounce at midfield, and the Crusaders will have it on the Limestone side of the 50 at around the 48-yard line. What a turn of events here in Tigerville in the early stages of the third quarter.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, you try to over-kick it and just went off the side of the foot. And here comes North Greenville. We always talk about, scripting things and how you'd like it to go, and the way that North Greenville's come out of the locker room here at halftime, and now they got great field position, and Limestone needs to stop here.
Let's check in with Ansley briefly before this North Greenville drive begins. Ansley?
Yeah, guys, it was with Ashton Hurd's touchdown. Right afterwards, Travis Beatty comes up to him and says, yeah, man, that's what we want. Stay in that zone. And then right afterwards, you had that safety. So North Greenville, they're pumped up, they're going, their blood is flowing.
Seem to be in the zone now, and across the chains, picking up another Crusaders first down. Tristan Jackson on the carry. You're not seeing Tracy Scott tonight. If you're just joining us here in the second half, he was banged up early in the game. Number of backs have stepped up. The most recent here, Tom, Tristan Jackson with another solid run.
Yeah, he's gotten a couple of opportunities here in the third quarter to play.
Jackson sets up a first down at the 36-yard line. More Jackson. And over the right side, he uses the strength of his lowered shoulder to move the chains once more. Back-to-back carries by Jackson in which he gets 10+. Remember, this is a Limestone defense. No runs allowed over 15 yards by this defense last week. That's a pretty remarkable stat. Not a single run over 15 yards. Put that in perspective with what we've seen on the last two plays from Tristan Jackson.
Yeah, they've been able to play exceptionally well on defense this year. We talked about 7th best in Division II, allowed only 252, but did allow 239 of the first half.
First down play. Beautiful route, and the pass on target, throwing to a spot. Will Hunter connects, and there's a look at that North Greenville sideline, and nobody a bigger cheerleader over there right now than Tracy Scott.
Well, you never know when your number's going to get called, and Jackson getting an opportunity tonight. Hurd, of course, having a big one. Tracy Scott, who's had a phenomenal start to his career, 1,000+ one a year ago, and off to an outstanding start this season. Got hurt early on to the second possession of the game.
Ball on the ground. Turnovers have, as they usually are in contests like this, the motivating factor, the ebb and flow of this one, but North Greenville able to cover up the loose football. And with 6:47 and ticking remaining, they'll face a third down behind the sticks, 3rd and 11.
Well, that's a big third down play for Limestone, I think even more so than it is for North Greenville, as we dipped under about 6.5 minutes here to go in the third quarter. Limestone needs to kind of just hang in there. I mean, it's still got a good ball game going.
Third down. Near side. Pass complete to Deontay Bryant. North Greenville spreading it around, a more balanced attack here in the last several moments, and a flag down at the 32-yard line. So we'll see if this completion holds.
Personal foul, defense, number 55.
Boy.
15-yard penalty.
Officials.
Half the distance to the goal. First down.
So half the distance to the goal against Limestone. You heard the official making sure they're sorting it out. You talked earlier, Tom, about the timely nature of those personal foul calls. It was the major area of concern for Mike Furry and his staff coming in, and it rears its head at the worst possible moment here in the third period.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there, and tell you, Hunter, though, was given plenty of time to throw the football that time, and sometimes when you see that flag on anything, it might be a holding call, but it turned out to be against Limestone, and now more back to the wall, and everything that could go wrong has gone wrong here in the third quarter play for Limestone. If you're North Greenville, you got your momentum, you want to punch it in here.
Well, if you stepped outside to turn off the grill outside, or maybe shut down the lights on the patio, and you come back in, all that has happened in the last several moments, changing this ball game, and it changes further on another highlight reel type catch. This one belonging to North Greenville in the backside of the end zone, and the Crusaders now out front 25-13. I don't know what's more impressive about this, Tom, the way the feet were drugged, or the way the catch was made. Take your pick, as the Crusaders put another on the board behind Robbie Brown again.
I tell you, the ball was fired there, but boy, Brown, you got to catch it, you got to control it. Got the foot down just inside the stripe there for the touchdown. Wow, pretty good coverage there by Limestone, and Navarre Saxon, but an even better play by Brown.
North Greenville going for 2. They're playing the numbers game here. It would put them up 27-13 if they make the 2-point conversion, which is a couple of scores, 14 points obviously versus being up just to 13. So trying to place themselves a couple of touchdowns out in front of Limestone with 6 minutes to play in the third period. Crusaders are up to the line. Will Hunter, how much confidence does number 10 Black have right now? Got a man wide open, conversion, good. Crusaders look to who else but Tristan Jackson, whose ground game did much of the heavy lifting on the way downfield on this drive. He's able to cap it with the 2-point conversion, and it is 27-13 North Greenville by 2 scores, and that was the catch that put the touchdown on the board. Here's the wide open route that extended the lead. Six plays, 47 yards, 2 minutes, 21 seconds, and quite a couple of catches on the ending of that drive for North Greenville. 27-13, the Crusaders lead, and that's a well-deserved drink of water for a pretty sizable drink of water in his own right in Tristan Jackson. This is where the trouble started on Limestone's last return. Wisely, the Saints opting to take a knee, and a touchback will come out. It seems like it's been a long time since this Limestone offense has had the football time. You go back to that interception, then the way things transpired on the North Greenville score, the safety following the return or lack thereof, depending on how you want to turn that, after just one play being run to secure the safety. And North Greenville right back down after the ensuing kickoff, scoring again. So touches have been few and far between for Mike Furry's crew here in this third period.
Yeah, you never know how things are going to go, right? I mean, I tell you, Limestone, I thought in the first half they did everything that they needed to do to have the lead at halftime, a couple turnovers, and played well defensively when they needed to do some things, and offensively with some big drives. But boy, it's flipped the switch here in the second. This becomes a big, I think, series for Limestone.
Coming off the initial tackle attempt and keeping the engine running, Shenard Bain, 560-pound running back for the Saints. Back to around the original line of scrimmage. 5:51 left.
Personal foul, face mask. Defense number 3, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That'll help. Face mask penalty. Limestone sees the chains move. Saints up near midfield. You feel like for Limestone right now, Tom, and how happy is Coach Farrington with the way his team has answered the bell here in the third quarter. You feel like for Limestone right now, they need a couple of positive things to happen still very much in this football game.
Yeah, we've seen them with a couple of drives in this game, 12 for 69 at a touch and 9 for 80 and a touchdown, about 5 minutes and 4.5. So they've proven that they can move the ball against this North Greenville defense. They need to do it right here.
The belief system of this North Greenville football team continuing to grind has been on display here in the third. And it's going to be ruled a catch. Looking for about half the distance Limestone needs. 2nd and 5 coming. Able to somehow cradle his hands underneath it for the Saints. Smith, another of what is turning into a highlight reel of catches for Smith. The one he didn't make earlier, perhaps one of the more memorable, and that jump ball turned into an interception for Johnny Worthy and set off what has become a number of sequences for North Greenville that have changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, you think about this too. He was open. He had a stride, and the ball was a little bit underthrown to Worthy, but an outstanding play to come away with the interception. So,
and that ball's caught. Limestone perhaps scores on that drive. They're inside the red zone at that point.
That's a matter of inches.
That's what this game so often comes down to. Third down. So you look at the talented wide receiver for the Saints. Smith. Such a nice job extending the field. They don't need him to do that here on third down. Saints just need a couple yards. He'll do it anyway. Smith loose, and he cannot hang on. Just off the fingertips of Vincent Smith. Enough disruption, perhaps, by Travis Beatty for North Greenville. And that could have been 6 more for the Saints.
Yeah, the press coverage with the aforementioned Worthy, that's been an outstanding matchup. Then you had help coming over the top from Beatty. Just a little bit overthrown there.
Flag is down at the 46-yard line. Here's the call. Official not quite ready yet. They're still talking amongst themselves, and now we'll get the call.
Ineligible. Receiver downfield on the offense. Penalties declined. 4th down.
So you heard that. 4th down and 2. It's a long 2. Crossing the 48-yard line. That's what Limestone's looking at. They rolled the dice on 4th down 2 times already, and I believe they're perfect in those 2 tries so far, Tom. So here's a 3rd effort from the 49, right on the midfield stripe almost for Limestone. And again, they need 2 yards to move the chains. You get across the 48 to feel safe. All kind of activity inside. And the give is to Patton. And Jacoya Patton is going to have the 1st down. So move the chains, make it 3 for 3. Limestone perfect on 4th down tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you like the wrinkle there with the jet sweep. You've got to be able to play that. You have to shift around a little bit and then go back up inside. And the big guys got it blocked, and 2nd effort got the 1st down. Converted the game 3rd time tonight.
And really, this drive results in points. Just the extension of this drive by converting that 4th down key with the way momentum has gone of late. I mean, to completely turn his body and then unable to make the catch on the far sideline. Jamil Hornsby spinning around, and there was some real estate out there for Hornsby if that ball's thrown in his breadbasket.
Yeah, he was open. 6'5", 215, good-looking redshirt senior. He's got 1 pass coming in for 18 yards, and that one was a touchdown. Just missed him there. He was behind the secondary, and let one get away there.
Ivan Corbin Jr. has thrown a couple of solid deep balls tonight. He's had maybe 2 chances on this drive to find the end zone, but Limestone's still kicking. And this underthrown going to be incomplete. Official right on top of it says it hit the turf. 3rd down and 10. You talked about a critical 3rd down for Limestone on the other side of the field just a few moments ago. This certainly, again, like the 4th down on this drive, feels that way for Limestone, as you'll get another look to decide for yourself on that call as you see the turf and the contact.
That's a long throw to make for the hash on this side, all the way across the field. Again, open. He's had some open receivers there. They're just going to come up with
3rd 10, Tom.
Here we go.
Line to make is the 36-yard line. Yeah, you got it, especially when you're 3 for 3 tonight on 4th down. I'd like to at least use this down to make it manageable. Corbin Jr. hit immediately, dropped quickly, and for North Greenville in there on the stop is Devin Turman.
You know, that's a nice play. We saw that play earlier in the 1st half, the toss sweep fake, and then up inside, and Turman there to shut it down. So nicely adjusted on that particular play.
4th down. Limestone again needs a 36. And this will put that perfect 3 for 3 4th down conversion mark to the test at the 3-minute mark. Pursuit. Corbin Jr. able to get out of it. He's got a man in behind the defense, caught inside the 10-yard line by Austin Crow. Crow just kept working past the defenders, and Corbin did enough to keep the play alive. 1st and goal, Limestone Saints. This may be one of those moments that when North Greenville was trying to take complete command of the game, kept the Saints right in the thick of things.
Good job by Hunter. A nice chip block there by Sean Payne just to give him a little bit of time. He slides and continue to run that pattern. Put your hand up, could find him, and did.
Make it 4 for 4 on 4th down, and now to the corner. The pass incomplete, covered over there by Travis Beatty again, who made the nice play on the potential home run ball down the near side. And that was intended for Smith earlier. 4 for 4 on 4th down, and they just converted to the Saints on a 4th and 10.
That was the tough one. We had 4th and 1, 4th and 4, 4th and 2, and 4th and 10.
fearless with the football in their hands. Limestone trying to cut this to a one-score game. Makes that two-point conversion for North Greenville a moment ago. All the more important with still a quarter plus remaining. Here's Corbin Jr., bounces it back outside. Looks familiar. That's how the first points were put on the board tonight by Limestone. This time the helmet wasn't required by Ivan Corbin Jr. You get a good look at the sophomore quarterback after he wheels the Saints into the end zone, and it's now 27-19. What a run by Ivan Corbin Jr.
And what a drive. I mean, after everything that had gone wrong with 20 points in about 9 minutes or so to begin things, and to come back, convert twice on fourth down, you're back in the ball game here, and got 2:24 to go in the third.
Yeah, in the third, right?
Third.
It feels like we're coming down to the wire in this one.
Overtime.
What a game. Limestone Saints going nowhere. Extra point missed earlier tonight. Not going to be the case here. Kick is true. The Limestone Saints march the distance. Nick Smith adds the extra point. And here was the run by Ivan Corbin Jr. that capped it. It's now a 7-point game here in Tigerville. Did we mention sophomore quarterback Ivan Corbin Jr. has the ability to make plays with his feet? Corbin Jr. having rushed for right around 50 yards when he put all the totals together, but more importantly, Tom, 2 rushing touchdowns for Limestone's Field General tonight. That makes it a 7-point game.
He dipped in, Brandon Brunch coming after him there, and able to turn the corner, lost the helmet, doesn't matter. Got into the end zone. What a drive put together there.
10 plays, 75 yards, 3.5 minutes. Most of the Limestone scoring drives have been upwards of 4.5, 5 minutes. This taking just 3.5 minutes when they needed it most. The Saints march 75 yards after the touchback. And again, 10-play drive engineered by Ivan Corbin Jr. Now, coverage team for Limestone swarming on the North Greenville return man, and the Crusaders in there pushing the pile for about 5 extra yards once all was said and done.
You got to wait till the whistle blows and continue to drive. As I said this before, this is a pretty big possession defensively.
Just kind of take that, put it at the top of the screen, make it a blanket statement over the rest of this game. We've had a wild one tonight. Where else would you rather be than right here, witnessing what is a 7-point ball game? Will Hunter trotting back out. North Greenville fans, Limestone fans loving where they were at the half. A great crowd having traveled from Gaffney. Can't argue with the fan support the Saints have in all sports at all levels. North Greenville fans just a few moments ago feeling very good about the way things have trended. And now the Crusaders get it back with the slimmest of margins, just a 1-touchdown lead. And the carry by Ashton Hurd is for positive yards, and second down is coming. This is going back and forth now through this third period.
Well, Limstone's got a North Greenville right where they want them, right? Come from behind against Benedict, have come from behind late in the fourth quarter against Tuscaloosa. A couple of back-to-back overtime games, but, resilient effort. They took one to the chops there to begin the third quarter and to come back and get on the board, convert twice on fourth down. We got a good one.
Yeah, down 17-3 in the second half a week ago before coming back to defeat Tusculum. Saints back-to-back overtime wins. As Tom told you, they believe in late game situations.
Well, they always tell you, coaches preach it, next play on. Sometimes it's hard to do that for everybody, but in this particular case, able to do that and get stuff back in the ballgame. Now North Greenville trying to respond.
Third down.
Good
wide
pattern.
open, yep, beautiful, as you said, pattern. A wide open look and a first down on the completion to Robbie Brown. Robbie Brown has quietly put together a very, very big night for North Greenville. 6 catches over 50 yards, the touchdown catch earlier, which will be his highlight moment probably, but right around 10 yards every time they toss the ball Robbie Brown's direction tonight.
Came in 14 for 244 and a touch against Tusculum, 8 for 153 and a 77-yard touchdown. And he did play last year, and nice to see him back in the fold this year.
North Greenville across the 50. And about a yard is all. Big lick played by a couple of different players in there for Limestone. One of those first on the attack, Jacob Carver. Clock now under half minute to play. Second down coming for North Greenville, but will they run another play? On the Limestone side of the 50, as players get set to put 4 fingers in the air, we're about to cue up the final 15 minutes to settle this one, Mr. Van Hoy.
It's been a good one so far, and expect an scintillating and exciting finish to this one, so come on back at the end of 3.
27-20 is the lead the homestanding Crusaders will carry into the final period of action. We'll break away, come back with the balance of it. Nothing settled yet here in Tigerville.
Grab game night dinner at the Ingalls Deli. Rotisserie chicken, a salad, and a hot bar. Everything you need can be found at the Ingalls Deli. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Team switch sides for the 4th period. A 3rd win on the year up for grabs between a couple of hot Division II programs. And North Greenville handing the ball off to Ashton Hurd. You're going to see more Hurd than perhaps usual. They like to have the combo of Hurd and Tracy Scott toward the end of the game. It's been the combo of Hurd and Tristan Jackson in this one, Tom, because of Scott's injury early in the contest. Hurd maybe not as fresh as they would like for him to be, but boy, has he been a big contributor tonight. Hurd with 148 yards rushing on 16 carries. He's averaging right around 10 yards per carry.
Yeah, coming off 17 for 134 and a 31-yard run for a touchdown against Albany. Of course, 778 last year and 1,000+ 2 years ago. He can do it.
Gives away to Tristan Jackson in the backfield right now, and Will Hunter loading up to go deep. Had a man in behind coverage, but a little bit too much on it for Deontay Bryant to get there, incomplete. And 4th down, North Greenville.
Yeah, this is one where you punt it. I think Bobby Foos will come out. He took a shot deep that time, and pretty good coverage there. P.J. Brown, preseason second-team sack with Bryant there, and now to punt it away.
A couple of overtime thrillers for Limestone the last 2 weeks, including winning their opening game in South Atlantic Conference play against Tusculum at home at the reservation in Gaffney, stadium they share with the Gaffney High School Indians. This program in its infant stages there in Cherokee County. Boy, the strides they've made already to come on the road against a Division II playoff team from a year ago and hold their own. The Saints within 7, and they're getting the football back with 14:03 left in the game. And I say all that, Tom, to say they're used to playing in a tight football contest late in the game.
Well, and you look back at that Benedict game, they had to convert on 3rd and 30 in the 4th quarter, give it a 42-yard touchdown pass, and that was Smith who caught that set it up eventually for Corbett Jr. to hit Fleming for the touchdown, and then score with 33 seconds to go on a 3-yard run, and then won it in overtime on a 40-yard run.
Limestone setting up shop from their own 11-yard line, make it to 12. And minimal gain right up the middle, maybe a yard. Our food for thought brought to you by the folks at Ingalls related to Limestone Athletics. Last season, the Saints won their 3rd NCAA Division II championship in men's lacrosse. It's a lacrosse powerhouse there in Gaffney. 3rd Division II championship in the last 4 years. The Saints have won 11 NCAA D2 national championships, team and individual. And the strong athletic programs, much to be proud of, and this football team much to be proud of here in this 2017 campaign. Here's a little toss out, going to be caught. Another look for Vincent Smith. He's got a 1st down, and he's out near the 30-yard line before he's brought to a halt with 13:15 to play.
Yeah, big, good-looking player there, a little down and out and timing pattern. Caught it, turned it up, 6'3", 195, a senior out of Columbia from Westwood High School. And in a lot of teams, a lot of players from South Carolina high school teams on both of these ball clubs. Only 9 out of state on North Greenville, only 28 out of state on the entire team as well on Limestone side.
One of the draws for Coach Furry to Limestone, as we talked about in the first half, was the solid high schools that surround this area and certainly provide a tremendous crop of athletes to pull from for both these schools. Sit down route out in the flat. Smith again. Handful of yards on first down. There to finally make the stop. Johnny Worthy, who had a big pick earlier in the ballgame for North Greenville.
We've had some really good matchups on both sides with those in the secondary against some outstanding wide receivers in this game. Talking about something inside.
They're still coaching them up over there. Mike Furry talked about development.
After the
Here's our
play,
official.
unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 14, 15-yard penalty, results in an automatic first down. That's number 14's first unsportsmanlike conduct.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, now over 50 yards in penalties for North Greenville, right at 75 yards in penalties for Limestone. Both these teams with a handful of self-inflicted wounds along the way, especially in the personal foul department.
Well, if folks weren't with us early on, there was a late holding penalty in the first half, and it pushed back the field goal attempt 47 yards from Matt Bradley that was wide right, that maybe cost an opportunity to put some more points on the board late in the first half for the Crusaders.
Fourth play of this drive for Limestone. 1st and 10 from the 49. In behind the defense, but not able to reel in the catch is Austin Crow. Able to get the separation he wanted at the last moment, but just couldn't quite grab the handle.
I tell you, that ball was thrown in a position where he could catch it, had help coming over the top. We've seen that on a number of occasions today. The free safety, Travis Beatty, trying to get there as well. And that's a tough catch, but maybe one he might want to have back.
2nd down and 10. Corbin was rushed for 49 yards tonight, thrown for 148. He's completed 50% of his passes at 12 of 24. Saints keep it on the ground. Stop right on that North Greenville logo.
And you know
3rd down and 9.
You think about that, 3rd down and 9. Last time it was a 27-13 game. You probably feel like you need to score. In this particular case, if you're facing a 4th down situation, you wonder if Coach Furry might not, with 11:58 to go, might not punt it. We'll see how it plays out here.
You know what makes it hard on a riverboat gambler?
To do that.
4 for 4 on 4th down today. That's going to make it a little more difficult. He's got to feel like the odds are in his favor. He could go the other way with that for sure. 3rd down and 10. Limestone's been so good in 3rd and 4th down situations today. And it's out of the reach of the intended target, Deontay Fleming. Fleming, who they talk about as lightning in a bottle. How quickly he can turn a 5-yard route into a 70-yard play. North Greenville has held him quiet for the most part today. It's been the work of Smith that has really made the difference through the air. Fleming 3 catches, just 16 yards. The longest catch he has made today, 7. Takes nothing away from a young man who Saints feel like is a weapon every time the ball is thrown his direction. They do punt it, Tom. Fair catch at the 15 and in some traffic. The catch is made by Harold Hilton, who's done a good job of the return game for North Greenville tonight.
Well, the number one thing you want your return man to do is catch the football. And, hopefully you can get some positive yardage after that. But, I've known coaches in years past, why are you putting a guy so-and-so back there? Because he'll catch the ball every time. Hilton's done a nice job. I thought that was a situation, given the game situation, that Coach Furry probably would kick it away, just play some field position here, get your defense back on, settled in a little bit. When that 3rd quarter, you gave up a field goal, a touchdown, a safety, and then a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. You were on your heels, and then convert twice on 4th down, get a touchdown, get back in it. We're going down the stretch here early in the 4th quarter. Going to be a great finish, I think, in this one.
How much does North Greenville love having an experienced quarterback in Will Hunter, calling out the signals and taking those snaps one by one? Remember, he led this team to a deep playoff run a year ago. He's in his redshirt junior season now, out of Lexington, South Carolina. We asked him, how did you land a guy like Will Hunter? A lot of FCS teams were looking at Will Hunter. Great interest in the recruiting area for him. The offensive line coach Crocker down at Lexington High School played for North Greenville, and with a close relationship with Coach Stepp, Crusaders said, we were the first ones to step in there and pull the trigger. Everybody else was talking to him. We just straight offered. What a find this young man has been for North Greenville. Perfect for their system.
3,000 plus last year. There was 23 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And 3rd round of the D2 playoffs a year ago.
All kind of open space. I mean, a tractor trailer could have been driven through the hole created by the North Greenville offensive line. This time, Tristan Jackson over the left side and across the 35-yard line. Move the chains. Crusaders on the march with 10.5 to play.
Yeah, good look at that young man. Bigger, different type runner, obviously, than Tracy Scott. Ashton Hurd. You know what? He got some pretty good speed as well, and he's going to deliver the blow at the end there as well.
First down at the 38. 7-point game. Crusaders looking for some breathing room. Limestone with the combo of Kelvin Atkins and Joey Felder, able to limit the first down gain. And now here's a flag on the field as well. Crusaders pointing as if it's against Limestone. Let's see. Total yards tonight, 336 for Limestone, 426 for North Greenville. Here's the call.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 28.
Wow.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yep, that's one. That's a tough one.
Puts Limestone on the doorstep now of 100 yards in penalties. 8 times the Saints have been penalized. And you talked about the timely nature, or untimely, I guess in this case, talking about it from the Saints' perspective. 27-20, putting yourself in a position to perhaps put North Greenville behind the sticks after a first down stop. Instead, Crusaders travel onto the Limestone side of the field and will face second down and 10 there after a pass in and out of the hands of Ashton Hurd. A few more of those numbers. 333 total offense for Limestone, 429 total offense for North Greenville. Rushing yards 185 to 252. North Greenville leads in that department, 148 to 177 with the pass. North Greenville slightly with the advantage there as well. As I said, 90 yards in penalties on 8 flags for Limestone, 5 flags for 62 yards for North Greenville. How about the turnover battle, Tom? 2 first-half turnovers forced by Limestone, 1 critical third-period turnover forced by North Greenville. The main stats in this game. And the ball is loose. It's going to be fumbled out of bounds, and North Greenville will maintain possession, but they're about to face a 3rd down and 8 with 9:40 to play.
See what they do on this particular occasion on 3rd down. They've been successful so far in this game, and you know, you gave the numbers there. This comes against a defense of Limestone that's 7th in the country in total defense at 252, and it's also a Limestone offense that has had one of its more productive nights tonight as well.
Yeah, Saints held Tusculum to 3 of 14 on 3rd down last week. Greenville facing another big 3rd down right here at the 9.5-minute mark. Hunter loads up, stretching out at the goal line and unable to make the catch. The intended target, Deontay Bryant. Well, they had the play they wanted. North Greenville just couldn't quite make the connection.
I think
4th down coming.
There was a little bit of pressure late. I think that maybe changed the trajectory just a little bit, but boy, what an effort. We're going to look at it here. Yeah, I'll tell you what, some fearlessness there. You know you're going to get hit. Step into it. Watch it here. And then able to fire it downfield. Had a step, and boy, what an outstanding effort just out of the reach of the flying.
The coaching staff used when talking about Will Hunter was his courageous ability to stand in the pocket and let plays develop. They talked about his courage on display for you right there. Limestone's defense shows some. They stand tall, and with 9:07 left to play, Saints getting the football back, down 7, 89 yards from the end zone.
Well, after all that flurry of activity, we've had 3 consecutive punts, and it's settled in here in the 4th quarter of a field position game. At this point, we saw North Greenville punt it, pin them deep. Same thing for Limestone, and now Limestone's going to get another opportunity 89 yards away, down by 7 at 9:07 here in the 4th.
Corbin Jr. on 1st down. There's Smith. He's across the 20. Depending on where they spot it, it may be a Limestone 1st down. It is. Move the chains for the Saints. Ivan Corbin Jr. now completing more than, or right at, I should say, half of his passes, and he's up over 150 yards through the air. First down at the 22.
That's a dangerous pass. I mean, again, it's cross field, so to speak, and if the corner breaks on that, of course, you want to be protected there. You catch it, he might turn and go the distance for a touchdown as well.
Positive gain on first down. Limestone going to the ground. And Shenard Bain, a tough little back in there for the Saints tonight. Bain laid the block that sprung Patton free on that 40-yard touchdown run, which capped the overtime, the thrilling victory for Limestone a week ago. And he's shown his toughness both carrying the football and when it's not in his hands. Again in this one tonight. Second down and 5. Corbin Jr. swallowed up before getting back to the line of scrimmage. Third down is coming. There's a flag down over on the far side, right in front of the Limestone bench. On the line of scrimmage. Thomas, we wait on this call. In talking with both of these coaches about some of the challenges they face, making the jump up into a conference this year for Limestone, just working their way into establishment of a football program. Coach Farrington talking about developing players being a key. Let's listen into the call. We'll get back to that.
There's no foul on the play. The quarterback was in the tackle box. Third down.
Okay, so he was in the tackle box. No foul call. They pick up the flag. Limestone's saying, you know, the biggest challenge you have is in recruiting, in that you're recruiting based on what you can tell people potentially could happen versus what other people have already established themselves to do. Well, nights like tonight allow a Limestone team to go sit in a living room somewhere and say not what can happen, but what has happened in major D2 environments.
What we're trying to develop here, and do you want to be a part of that history?
Third down, 7 to go for Limestone here. Very much in the thick of it with 7.5 to play in Tigerville. And timeout called for by the Saints ahead of this key third down. First timeout of the second half by either team. We will take it as well. 7:32 separating us from the finish line. 27-20, the North Greenville lead. Mike Furry's Limestone Saints trailing North Greenville on the road. 27-20 is the score. Just a couple of years ago here on My40, had an overtime victory on the road at Brevard, the first road victory in Limestone program history. They did that in thrilling fashion. One of 3 overtime games in the young history of the program. The last two weeks. Is this destined for extra time? We'll see. North Greenville's defense has other thoughts right now, and they swallow up Ivan Corbin Jr., 4th down coming, and the Saints getting set to kick it away. Let's check in with the third member of our broadcast team. Here's Ansley Brock. Ansley?
Yeah, guys, you can definitely tell that Limestone is over here, and they're getting really passionate. Not only their fans, but also their players. Because I don't know if y'all can see how big the crowd is for North Greenville over here, and I can hear them all the way from the visitor side.
Well, something else to have the kind of support right out of the gate for the football program that Limestone has. North Greenville sending pressure. They nearly get to it. Here's a fair catch. North Greenville will take it at the 41. One more little note on Limestone and recruiting. We got a little extracurricular activity. That note will have to wait. How about this, Tom?
Yeah, we'll see what plays out here. I think they might call catch interference there, but if they do, there was an official literally that was like a step or two away that didn't call it, and another one did. So we'll just wait and see. Be interesting.
Official's going to huddle up once more. This is going to be 14th penalty of the night. Let's see.
Personal foul. Face mask.
Okay, different.
On the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
So face mask.
Big one.
That will take North Greenville, instead of this drive starting on the 41-yard line, and place them across on the Limestone side of the 50. Crusaders already up a touchdown, so any points here begin to make it tougher on Limestone, obviously.
4 consecutive possessions when 2 apiece the teams have punted, kind of played that field position game. That's a big penalty there. I thought it was a pretty good situation there for Limestone to run by and kind of distracted a little bit, but not made contact with. But that play was away from that. And now here comes North Greenville, a 6:48 up by 7.
Crusaders off a win over 16th-ranked Albany State on the road, installing some belief in the home fans that this team, though some youth is in need of maturity down the stretch across this 2017 football season, can make the kind of run that the Crusaders put together a year ago, going 3 rounds deep into the Division II playoffs. Well, if you're going to make that kind of season happen, you have to salt away games like this, finish strong in games like this, and the Crusaders offense given a chance to do that now, Tom, with under 7 minutes to play, leading by 7. Here comes a 2nd down and 8.
The ebb and flow of the football game, the ebb and flow of the football season as well, and Coach Farrington telling us looking for a little more consistency here.
Pocket beginning to collapse all of a sudden. Hunter rushes out of there, gets some help, is coming back to the football is Ken Drummond. And he makes the catch right back about the line of scrimmage. So 3rd down coming. Not disaster for Limestone, but what a play by Hunter to make it happen, Tom.
He did, and I don't know if we'll get a chance to look at it again, but the key block there, the peel back was by the running back Hurd. You know, you got to be able to block as well. You want to run the football, but be able to play. I mean, if we can see it to its conclusion, watch 22 here. He's going to peel back, provide opportunity. He nailed the big guy to get back instead of a big loss to maybe pick up a yard or 2.
Yeah, Lazarus Tinsley.
Good work,
Lazarius Tinsley had an angle there. This is in and out of the hands of the intended target on 3rd down. Limestone comes away with a stop. And looks as if Deontay Bryant is down on the far side, right at the 30-yard line. Crusaders already having lost Tracy Scott earlier tonight. And now Deontay Bryant hard to the turf. This is going to give you a look at exactly what happened. Major collision is secondary for the Saints, forcing the ball out over there. That was Jabari Saxon who knocked it away. And there's the good news. Up and at him, Deontay Bryant coming to the home sideline.
Kind of just drove him into the ground there. I tell you, this is a hard-fought, very physical football game here tonight. Both teams really getting after it in an entertaining one here from Tigerville.
Well, the SAC, a conference that North Greenville's had an alliance with over the last several years before making their transition into the Gulf South, a conference that Limestone is just entered into this past week with their first South Atlantic Conference game, a win over Tusculum. All those conferences getting these teams, and Division II football as a whole should be very proud of the football game we are witnessing tonight. 7-point game, Limestone to get the ball on the 14-yard line, 5:11 left on the game clock.
I'll tell you, after what we saw in the 3rd quarter, if you weren't with us, I mean, it was a wild flurry with a field goal, a touchdown, a safety, and a touchdown and 2-pointer by North Greenville, all in the matter of about 9 minutes to take what looked like a pretty commanding lead before North Greenville, before Limestone was able to come back, convert a couple of 4th downs, get it within 27-20. Since then, 5 consecutive possessions resulting in punts in a field position game. Good job by the Limestone defense to get off the field after outstanding field position.
No points after the first period, no points yet here in the 4th period. Everything done in the middle stages of this game so far. Ivan Corbin Jr. would like to change all that. Has a man across into North Greenville territory, and it is caught. Vincent Smith once again, and he has Limestone set up at around the 41-yard line. Another catch for Vincent Smith. Wow. Well, we told you that the Limestone folks believe he has a potential to not just play outstanding on Saturdays, but perhaps even play on Sundays along the way. You can see why. Had the big juggling catch earlier. Comes away with the biggest catch of the night for Limestone thus far. Crusaders trying to stiffen the neck at the 40-yard line with 4.5 to play. A 27-20 lead. 45 yards on the connection. And the numbers tonight for Vincent Smith, 9 catches, 136 yards and a touchdown. That was his longest catch of the night. On 2nd down, Why not? They go back to Vincent Smith. There is a flag. But this is caught. Smith keeps digging for every yard. He has first down yardage if the play stands. But again, a limestone flag, or a flag in the limestone backfield. Let's see if it goes against the Saints. Officials pointing that direction, and the Saints beginning to retreat here, so it appears to be another costly penalty against Limestone. Here's a call.
Holding. Offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second down.
Well, one of Mike Furry's teammates was as relentless as what we've seen from Vincent Smith tonight, talking, of course, about Megatron. Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Georgia Tech. Lives in Georgia, and when Limestone was celebrating their signing day this year, came up and was a part of the process to help push the ball along for one of his old teammates. And he would be proud of what he's seeing from Vincent Smith in this one tonight. And now to the back, and Patton tripped up just as he crosses the 50. And second down and forever becomes third and long from the 48-yard line. 55 strong in the recruiting class for Limestone because of, due in part because of the work that Megatron and company did to help Mike Furry out. South Carolina, North Carolina, Ohio all represented. And Calvin Johnson-esque tonight, the work of Smith. Do the Saints have one more late fourth period and perhaps beyond miracle in them this week on the road at North Greenville? Third down. Corbin Jr. covered up. North Greenville able to sack him. Matthew Thomas, among others, in there. You see Desmond Williams, whose name we've called a couple of different times. There's Thomas, and the Crusaders with a huge third down sack.
I tell you, Matthew Thomas has had a heck of a night. Same thing for the aforementioned Desmond Williams. And dialed defensively, not going to sit back and rush through. They dialed the pressure and didn't really have any place to go with that when it comes to use playing the ball game as we take down to 2.5 in the game.
Well, we thought 4th and 10 was going to test that perfect fourth down record tonight. 4 for 4 the Saints to this point, but this is 4th and 20. Line to make is a 31 of the Crusaders, and this is going to be overthrown, incomplete. North Greenville takes over on downs. When Coach Farrington was speaking with us earlier in the week, he said, we're focused on turnovers. And he said, guys, I want you to understand, when I say turnovers, I'm not just talking about fumbles and interceptions. I'm talking about turnovers on downs as well. We focus just as much on those as we do taking the football away. None bigger tonight for North Greenville than the one we just witnessed.
Well, and from Limestone's standpoint, they probably felt pretty confident. You were talking about the comebacks against Benedict and also with Tusculum. They converted on 3rd and 30 in the Benedict game to come down. Now it's come down to 2:17 to go. You've got complement of timeouts remaining. You're asking your defense to do it yet another time. The defense has been good enough here mid-third quarter and on, late third quarter and on, to provide the opportunity to get back in this one.
Defense got Limestone the ball back with under 4 minutes to play in the contest last week. They're being asked to stand up with just 2 minutes and change left to go in this one, and now North Greenville goes to the ground in an attempt to salt it away. They hand it to Tristan Jackson, who has major first down yardage. Just 2 timeouts to work with for Limestone. And the clock being stopped right here for an injury. One of those North Greenville linemen down. Number 76, Casey Stewart in there. North Greenville line, somewhat unheralded tonight. They've given Will Hunter a lot of time when he's needed at times, and certainly created space for these backs.
Tackle to tackle, all South Carolina natives. Cameron Stepp, Casey Stewart, Michael Thomas, Jewel Bell, and Caleb Harris, all represented Chesney and Pickens and Florence and West Florence and Ridgeview, and Dutch Fork out of Irmo as well. And they've done a good job here tonight. It's a very young offensive line for Limestone as well that's growing up here this evening.
Second down, 3. The game may not give us a chance to say it from here to the end, so we once more say thank you to the North Greenville folks for hosting us. What a privilege it's been to be here on a night like this. Saw some of the fans there just a moment ago. They've created an environment that made it fun for us to come and do our job tonight, Tom.
That's their second charge timeout of the half.
Hear Limestone taking one of those 2 remaining timeouts in a desperation attempt for a defensive stop that would give them one last gasp here. But the folks at North Greenville, second to none in the way they take care of us, and we say a big thank you tonight.
Well, and you've seen it grow over the years. Back in the day when they didn't even have this stadium. They didn't play here. They played at a high school stadium as well, just to see what they've been able to do here. And, you know, it starts at the administrative level to make a commitment to the success that you want to have in athletics in addition to academics and the other things that go on in North Greenville. But, boy, just the time that I've been in South Carolina the last 13 years, it's been impressive what they've done here in Tigerville.
94 seconds away from what would be another home win. It's been a tough place for opponents to come in and play with the environment that, as you said, North Greenville has created. To fight out, to tough out, grit out, grind out the kind of victory North Greenville is on the verge of here a week after going on the road and defeating Albany State. Well, that's a pretty impressive stretch in the middle portion of the season.
There's so many things that go on throughout the course of an athletic event, in this particular case football, and you put it behind you, move on. And I think both teams have been pretty resilient in that regard tonight. And, you know, North Greenville got on top, and they've been able to maintain that lead, trying to finish it off here late.
Coach is talking about how winning is never easy. As you said, so many different things have to happen. Greenville needing a first down to try and go ahead and try to put this one in the W column. On third down, the rush is near the marker. Let's see where they spot this.
Limestone.
Looks like it's going to be short.
Timeout of the half.
And the Saints will take their final timeout. Well, this Limestone team, whether they come away with a stop and a miracle here or not, Tom, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. They're a team that has learned how to win, as you hear the game clock being reset to 1-2-8. Limestone team that's learned how to win, and the things they focus on. Under Coach Furry, who, as we said, a Mike March disciple who continues to build this program, he said, we have a dreams logo. We talk about chasing the following things: degrees, rings, excellence, accountability, morals, and all of that will lead to success. That's the foundation of this program. We know North Greenville's been doing it that way here in Tigerville for a long, long time. Reasons to believe the brightest days ahead for both these programs.
You do need to remember now, you're talking about Division II, where you get, when you're fully funded, you get 36 scholarships. And they're piecemeal in a number of different ways, trying to get you a little bit more money. But a lot of these young men, they're not getting like full rides. They're getting partial scholarships, not getting a lot of money. And you know, sometimes that gets lost in the shuffle. You think so much about the D1 level and so forth. Please reset the
game clock to 1-2-8. 1-2-8.
Every second counts, as we well know.
Thank you.
Last Saturday's college football action, a reminder of that. If you were around for the end of that Tennessee-Florida game, anything can happen. So the officials getting the time right at 1:28. 4th down and 1. North Greenville for the football game. Keep it on the ground. Limestone's defense able to hold, and the Saints will have a desperation chance across the last 84 seconds to drive down and tie it again. Could there be more overtime on the horizon for Limestone?
Well, this is a team that thinks they can win because they've been able to win the last 2 times out that they've played against Benedictine and also against Tusculum overtime.
Handling the bright lights of Tigerville, South Carolina, the viewing audience, the coverage tonight, all eyes on these two here in the upstate, and they have entertained us to the tune of a 27-20 separation with 1:24 to go, and Crusaders unable to get that elusive 1 yard that would have salted this one away.
Well, let's see how North Greenville decides to play this one defensively. It's a 7-point game with 1:24 to go, and it's going to be interesting down the stretch.
No timeouts for Limestone. They use them all on defense just to provide this chance to their young sophomore quarterback, Ivan Corbin Jr. and his troops. Full bevy of wide receivers here for Limestone with 1:24 to play. Greenville's defense called upon to win it for the Crusaders tonight. This over the middle and overshooting. Deontay Fleming, 2nd down and 10 coming. Crusaders, when this one is over, the game's been so tight, we haven't been able to get into it, Tom. Take on Kennesaw State, Catawba College, Florida Tech, Carson Newman, Delta State, and West Alabama. That has a Gulf South Conference flavor to it, even though next year will provide the full slate. For Limestone, whatever happens here, Mars Hill, Carson Newman, Lenore Ryan, Newberry, Catawba, and Wingate as they compete for the South Atlantic Conference Championship. They've served notice again tonight that they will compete for that championship. Here comes Corbin Jr., needs to get the sideline and will at the 43. That's about half the yardage Limestone needed. They'll face a 3rd and 5 with 1:11 to play.
Yeah, rush 3, drop 8, and wasn't there. And that's a quick decision you got to make. You got to get out of bounds, and he did that.
Ivan Corbin Jr., if anybody feels comfortable in these situations, you know he probably does. This is becoming old hat for the Limestone Saints, needing to march down the field in the closing seconds. They scored with 33 seconds on a run by Patton a week ago to tie it up against Tusculum at home. And then a 40-yard run after a defensive stand in overtime sent the fans at the reservation into a frenzy. Nobody having left their seat in this one on either side. And a first down, Limestone on a completion far side. Clock will stop briefly at just over a minute as they reset the chains.
That time deciding to bring some pressure, got it out in a hurry, picked up a first down, stop the clock, and they step up and clock it here. You know, we've seen it before throughout the course. College football, you might fake it sometime.
Clock back rolling, no timeouts for Limestone. 45 yards from pay dirt, and pinning the extra point, what would be a tie ball game. Saints going for it now. Smith, who's had a huge game, is not able to reel it in. And no flag down there either. Second down coming with 45 seconds to play.
Yeah, throw it up, give that young man a chance there. And we've seen it much of the night. Got help over the top from the free safety and one-on-one coverage of the corner over there.
7 players remain from the original group that took on the building process at Limestone. Guys like Fleming, the wideout, Titus Williams, DB, linebacker, Patrick. What they must be thinking tonight about the strides this program has already made as Limestone tries to drive once more. Incomplete near side, 39 seconds to play, 3rd down and 10. Remember, even if it gets to 4th down and long, this is a Limestone team that has converted all but one of those tonight.
And you've got free safety sitting back there about the 20-yard line with a snap. It's going to provide some help somewhere.
That's one thing about that game we saw last week at the SEC level. Everybody's on notice around the country that you cannot let anybody behind you in situations like this. It's North Greenville's game plan right now. Not a straight prevent defense, but certainly looking to stay in behind the receivers. This is near the sticks on 3rd down, and the presence of mind by Smith to stick the football out there may have secured the first down for Limestone, and it did.
Boy, that's a good spot too, and presence of mind, good throw, and some little bit of coverage there. You give him some. You don't want to get beat up the sideline. Take what they'll give you. Still got 33.9 left.
Clock stopped, and the officials had signaled first down, but they have not moved the sticks just yet. And there they go. So the chain crew now setting things up from the 35-yard line. And the clock had to be stopped momentarily. Limestone using that to get their play in here. Really of benefit to the Saints. 27-20 Crusaders. Limestone threatening again late in the ball game. Corbin Jr. up top. Couple of defenders back there for North Greenville, and intercepted by Travis Beatty to seal it. The Crusaders will come away with the football and the win against the very pesky Limestone Saints squad tonight.
Well, they hung in there, gave themselves an opportunity late in the game. The defense got the ball back, got a couple of first downs. But Beatty, we talked about him all night long, providing that secondary help and out of double coverage and just playing center field there. He's able to come across the field and a little bit overthrown and comes up with the football, and that'll do it. A heck of a football game here tonight. And, for Limestone, they've been in this situation before, so I was going to say, it's kind of the stuff you practice, you may never use, but they've done it a couple times, and they had a chance there, and just a nice defensive play there by Beatty to get the INT.
Cam Rice running a little interference back there for Beatty. He helped create the separation that forced the interception as he held off the wide receiver, trying to turn it into something late for Limestone. Rice, who was a key factor in the game a year ago, a big interception for North Greenville, and a second half this time around after the Crusaders went to the locker room trailing at 13-7. That allows North Greenville to take a knee out of the victory formation, and these teams will meet at midfield after a hard-fought Division II football game tonight. North Greenville a winner, 27-20. Tom, there will be no cold showers for the Crusaders tonight, but this is the same type stretch, a win on the road against Albany State and a hard-fought home win against Limestone that could change this season for North Greenville for the better.
These are the kind of ones, character builders. You got out of here, you trailed, you had some things go wrong against you. You came out in the third quarter and you did an incredibly good job of getting the lead, as we mentioned, with the field goal, the touchdown, the safety, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion, and held on to win it by 7.
We'll be back to wrap this one on the other side of the break. North Greenville a winner. They celebrate at home, 27-20. All the action took place in the middle of the contest tonight. No points first period, no points fourth period. But these teams combining for 400 yards of offense each. And a 27-20 final. North Greenville a winner at home. Big night for the Crusaders here at Yount Stadium. Let's look back at the sights and sounds from this one, Tom. Both quarterbacks, starting here with Ivan Corbin Jr., outstanding tonight.
Yeah, able to go 10 yards. That came after a fumble recovered by Sheldon Reed. And Limestone on the board first in this one.
This is all in the second period again, and here is Ashton Hurd breaking loose. He carried a great deal of the load after the injury of Tracy Scott tonight for North Greenville.
Tied it at 7 after a 41-yard touchdown run. Back came Corbin. Look at this catch by Vincent Smith. A juggling act back on top. There's Limestone.
Blazed and received Vincent Smith tonight when Limestone needed it most. There's more Ashton Hurd.
Yeah, able to take it in, and here's an outstanding defensive play. Desmond Williams, this came after the ball was placed on the 1-inch line, and that'll change the momentum of the ball game in the third.
Yeah, that was in that third quarter sequence. North Greenville outscoring Limestone 20-7 in the third period, including this phenomenal catch, which was made by Robbie Brown.
Yeah, and then Will Hunter will the 2-point conversion of Tristan Jackson to get a chance to play. I bet coming in tonight, he wasn't going to think he was going to catch a 2-point conversion, huh?
264 on the ground, 177 through the air for North Greenville. But Limestone wasn't going away. A late touchdown by Corbin Jr. in the third quarter kept the Saints right in it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, 2 fourth down conversions kept that drive alive, got them back in the ball game, and then we had about 5 possessions where there were punts and played the field position game.
Has to be somewhat of a deep exhale for Coach Jeff Farrington. He is standing by with Ansley Brock. Ansley?
It was a tight game. It was an exciting game. Ended with Beatty getting the interception in the end. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, anytime you can win against a quality opponent, which every one that you play is quality, we'll take it. And it was truly a fourth quarter game. We preached that all week that, Limestone and us, we're going to play down to the fourth quarter. The way they've been playing, it wasn't any surprise in how they came out and played. We knew they had the capability of making plays, and they made a lot of plays with their quarterback tonight. He was a thorn in our side, and you can see him kind of progress as the season has gone this year. So, he's a handful.
Going into your next game, what do you need to work on in practice?
Well, there's probably we don't have enough time to go over everything that we need to work on, but we get a week of practice, and we'll enjoy this one tonight, and then we'll prepare for our next opponent. And, just like any other week, that's kind of, we're in that cycle. So, obviously, we're trying to get better. We're a work in progress, just like everybody is at this point in college football. But we try to we want a football team that can improve as the year goes along. So, maybe we got to work on not putting our defense in that situation at the end and go ahead and get that first down, or maybe punt the ball and pin them inside the 10 like we've done and give them a little bit longer field. But anyway, it worked out, and so we're happy for that. And the guys we felt like played really hard. We asked them to play hard, and hopefully we can make enough plays to win.
Last question, have you had a chance to speak with Tracy Scott or even get with him?
Just he's got a boot. I know his ankle was a little bit of an issue when he went down. Didn't see it happen. But hopefully he'll be ready to go. We'll see.
Coach, congrats on your win. Jason and Tom, back to you guys.
Thanks, Ansley, and certainly thanks for being our eyes and ears down there on the sidelines tonight. Tom, a coach always can think of 1,000 things he wants to tighten up from one week to the next.
Ansley.
But listen, he has won 3 out of the 4 games that his team has played this season, including the upset victory on the road at Albany State, a gritty win over Limestone, a scrappy Limestone team here at home tonight. This is a North Greenville team trending in the right direction.
Every win's a good win, and the way it played out tonight, you had yourself being North Greenville had to face some adversity, a couple of turnovers, had a holding penalty, and missed a field goal late in the first half. Thought it was imperative how they came out to start third quarter, and they were able to put 20 points on in 9 minutes and kind of get control of the game and just kind of hang in there and come out of there with a win.
2 first-half turnovers forced by Limestone. They led 13-7 at the break. North Greenville forced 2 turnovers, including the interception that sealed it in the second half, and they outscore Limestone 20-7 in the third period for a 27-20 victory. For everybody on our crew, including Ansley Brock on the sideline, Tom Van Hoy, my sidekick, Jason Patterson, saying thanks for joining us for this battle between Cherokee County and Northern Greenville County's Tigerville-based NGU Crusaders, I should say. These Crusaders able to stand tall offensively, defensively. They do enough on both sides, solid in all aspects. Chance for another deep playoff run for this North Greenville team. Tom, they look solid.
They did. They came out with a win. That's the object of the exercise.
441 yards of offense for NGU. The Crusaders win it 27-20 over Limestone.